has changed.
No. You kill your enemies, and then you make peace with what is left.
It's no longer about nations, ideologies, or ethnicity.
Fuck you, Frenchman.
It's an endless series of proxy battles fought by mercenaries and machines. War and its consumption of life has become a well-oiled machine.
Jesus, we should have gassed all of them.
War has changed.
If we've learned one thing from the Greeks, it's this, that all great tragedies involve a woman, and our story's Helen of Troy would be Rage After Storm. Now, for those of you unfamiliar with who Rage After Storm is, she is not Styx's biological sister, Spoonclank. Instead, she's a YouTuber that accumulated nearly 100,000 subscribers over the course of 6 months. Her popularity was explosive. She was networking with everyone, appearing on multiple streams. People were recommending her to their audiences nearly daily. She seemed to be a golden child, someone who captured a certain demographic and held its attention. That is until she decided to talk about a subject which is apparently forbidden, or as Trout in Tears would say, verboten.
So, after many of you have speculated about my stance on race, especially my recent one, I've decided to make a video about it. Because heck, I love talking about things that will probably get me kicked off YouTube and every other social media website.
Now this video, and the reaction to it, would be the impetus, the genesis, for an autism festival, which would take place over the course of 4 fucking months, dragging its ass across nearly every aspect of social media, from YouTube to Twitter, from Facebook to 4chan. And it would include an entire cast of characters from multiple groups on the internet. But the driving force behind it, the protagonist of this tragedy, would be one individual by the name of Trout and T. And as you'll see, as these videos unfold, is a story that is of vengeance, of wrath and anger, of hubris, total fucking warfare. The sort of battle online that only a high-class, exceptional individual would ever engage in willingly, that would end up costing Trout nearly everything he had, to the point of where he had to leave the internet out of shame. And yes, like all great Greek tragedies, we even have mythological creatures. Granted, they're not chimera, but there are a few pregnant trouts here and there. Now, with this particular video, I want to put forward a theory on why Trout and T began a destructive cycle that drove him off the internet. And it all begins with Rage After Storm.
Keep this in mind because it's going to be very relevant indeed.
Now, what I'd like to do is establish a timeline and the reactions which occurred within that timeline. Rage's video, Race is Real, went up on June 24th. 4 days later, on Adam Worski's podcast number 55 on June 28th, Trout and T, among others, discussed their reaction to the video.
Welcome back to another Worski Live. I'm here with
Chris Worski, what's up?
and we have a full house today. We got Trout and T, some black guy, Kasara, and Jeff Holiday. What's going on, everyone?
Now, there are many golden moments that take place within this particular chat. Many of the guests take umbrage with what they see as dog whistling, that Rage is signaling to real racists, to the neo-Nazis out there with this video that she is one of them. They don't like the sources which are discussed.
It just looks like she's just repeating what the Daily Stormer article says. She just read the article, said, okay, this sounds right. Apparently didn't put any effort into questioning any of it, and then said, okay, this is how it is.
Fair enough. Maybe the Daily Stormer wasn't the way to go. Maybe she should have looked for information from other sources, like, say, a documentary.
按说是你们受欧洲国家管理这么长时间，应该是学到了很多先进的管理经验。
哪有多少时间？没多少时间了。我们炒那个要那个国经济啊，很炒。现在是50年了，这几50年那个。就是50年以前，你不是受他们西方这个管理？是啊，那个先进的影响，那个代代往传下来，越传越文明越发达了，怎么越来越倒退，越落后了？你看这么先进的铁路，我都1930几年就有电气化铁路，我这是中国啥时候才有电气化铁路的？你看矿区那个铁路，电气化那个双轨铁路，因为架得多好。你看现在顶上那个什么，哎呀，千疮百孔啊，破烂不堪了。把原来留下的东西根本都没有更加的爱护保护去利用它，反而都遭到了毁灭性的重创，都成这样子的话。
Oh, that's that's a bit harsh.
Race realism is actually really fucking pervasive. Stefan Molyneux fucking talks about this shit all the time, and he talks out of his fucking ass. I made 2 videos about race realism. These people fucking followed me for 6 months, making sock accounts just so they can get around me muting them, being like, "Why aren't you debating this?" There's no fucking debate. You
To be honest,
retards.
Those goddamn neo-Nazis and their fucking frog alt accounts. Thank God you didn't do anything to fucking encourage that. Thank God you didn't take their symbol and co-opt it into some E-bombs world tier shit, huh, Jeff?
The whole point of Kekistan is taking back Pepe from you douche nozzles trying to, like, meme your way into some sort of interesting political position. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about you. Nobody ever fucking cared about you. You're cringy as fuck. The whole meme is just to take the piss out of you.
Maybe you shouldn't be shooting shots across the bow if you don't want fire fucking returned. But nonetheless, on the stream, multiple things are brought up. They don't like her sources, they think it's dog whistling, they don't like her approach to the subject, and there's some definite hostility towards the alt-right, towards race realists, towards white nationalists, or anybody that really sees the issue differently than they perhaps see it. But the shit show proper didn't happen until the very next day, on June 29th, when Trout and T tweeted this out, at Kipper Central. You might want to look into the views of one of your contributors, Rage After Storm. And almost immediately, the reaction is, seriously? Now, Rage had written for Kipper Central, which is a UKIP account. And here Trout is, one day after discussing and mocking her video, writing to them to say that you need to look into your contributor, Rage After Storm. The reaction was not friendly, if you can put it that way. But there's another more interesting reaction that followed fairly quickly afterwards. This was at 9:31 a.m. on June 29th. At 12:05 p.m. on June 29th, a few hours later from when Trout had messaged them, Kipper Central responds, "We can confirm we are looking into one of our writer's recent videos. No further comment will be made until we have reviewed the video." Now, the thing about Kipper Central is it's a relatively small account. Currently, it has 744 followers, and that's not a number that's drastically changed overnight. They didn't just lose 500,000. It's always been a small channel. So you can probably imagine their shock when they get this response to their announcement about a writer on their website. Great, it's Rage After Storm, and she appears to be a racist pig. Fill us in on what steps you take. Thank you. That's from Soledad O'Brien. Soledad O'Brien knows who Rage After Storm is. Soledad O'Brien is contacting a fucking Twitter account with 700 followers. And very shortly after that, on June 30th, the next day, Kipper Central releases this statement regarding Rage. We have decided to suspend one of our writers, Rage After Storm, following a series of tweets and the content of one of her YouTube videos. When Rage first started writing for us, she was very down to earth and agreed with many of our other writers on many things. However, very recently, she has changed her views and has become sympathetic to ideologies we cannot endorse or facilitate, unless she reforms her thinking. We will have no option but to remove Rage from Kipper Central entirely. We hope she takes this opportunity to change her ways and rethink whether this is the best direction for her. To be clear, we will not tolerate Rage's current views and standpoints, and people with these views are not welcome in Kipper Central. So within 1 week of her video, she has been disavowed from the UKIP organization which she was associated with. The reaction, the lashback that happened online following this was a bit extreme, but it really ramped up on July 24th when Rage After Storm deleted her YouTube account and her Twitter account, because it was around this time that people went back and saw what Trout had written to Kipper Central and confronted him with it, stating that he had played a hand in basically driving Rage After Storm off of the internet. Trout did not have the best of reactions to that apparent viewpoint. He saw it as an attack on him from the alt-right, from race realists, from white nationalists, from the very people he was mocking in the stream when he made fun of her video. One day after she had shut down her accounts, Trout released this on his Twitter. I find it fucking hilarious that some of you compared the tweet I made to the letter writing campaign Thunderfoot had to endure. And the best about all of this? Wait for it. Wait for it. I actually contacted her employer, who told me in person that I am absolutely in no way responsible for her being fired, and making it absolutely clear that it was their decision, that many of their writers watch her videos as well, and that many more contacted them by means other than tweets. You, who manufactured outrage over this, are a bunch of pathetic, whimpering little shits. Do you really have so little to add to the conversation that you have to pretend that someone has no personal responsibility for her actions and pin it to someone who critiqued her views? Are your arguments so pathetically weak that you have to devolve into drama shit-flinging? You are a joke. A massive fucking joke. And yes, I'm looking at you there, Edgy Sphinx, Cedarwood, and Blondie. Especially Cedarwood and Edgy. You too? You, after complaining over moral grandstanding? Complaining that people opposed to you do too much drama and no substantive debate over issues? And what do you do about these complaints? You go looking for shit to fling like the little shit-flinging mental midget monkeys that you actually are. Pathetic. Tweets with screen caps to follow. Oh, but Trout wasn't done there. Oh boy, it's almost like actions have fucking consequences. Actions have consequences, huh, Trout? Actions have consequences. Really makes you, oh shit, my codec's going off. Who's that? Oh, it's Sour Snake. What's that, Snake? Actions have consequences. Okay, thanks, buddy. Thanks for checking in. The very next day, after all those Twitter spats, Trout releases this video, Artificial Outrage. You can tell from the like-dislike ratio that things did not go smoothly. And it's no surprise, really. Listen to who he blames for this artificial outrage.
This nonsense, of course, took its path down the road of ridiculousness, most amusingly with the paragons of ethical behavior joining with them, the doxing AIU scumfuck crowd. And, of course, half of Twitter's alt-right frog accounts about how I supposedly went after her private supposed job, how I tried to censor her, a whole lot of other bullshit.
And he has a few things to say about Rage in particular, and about Kipper Central's decision to disassociate or disavow her.
Rage After Storm didn't have a paying job at Kipper Central. Kipper Central distanced itself from her anyway because, duh, what a shock. They don't wish to associate with racists.
But one of the more interesting pieces from the video itself is when he addresses the tweet that he had sent to Kipper Central. I want you to pay particular attention to how he words this, and to the tweets that he shows while he's talking.
I tweeted at that UKIP blog's Twitter handle to maybe take a closer look into the views of their contributor Rage After Storm. And what happened after that? Well, 20 minutes after I made that tweet, I started thinking that it was childish and stupid and proceeded to delete that tweet and make two statements on Twitter that I had gone too far with this, and that it was childish, and that I had consequently deleted that tweet.
It was childish and stupid, and he deleted it out of shame. And the tweet he's highlighting says, you were attempting to de-platform someone because you disagreed with them. And his response was, acknowledging it. I know that's what I was attempting to do. A lot of the discussion around the events of what happened with Rage After Storm, about did Trout have a hand in getting her disassociated or disavowed? Did he have a hand in pushing her off the internet? Focus on the idea of the consequence, but rarely talk about the intent. Trout is openly discussing the intent right here. He was attempting to get her deplatformed. There's no arguing about that. He says it himself. He acknowledges it, and the tweet responds. But what I'd really love to know is what changed from him saying this on Andy Worski a month ago.
I'm mainly looking at her sources. I'm not going to make any kind of emotional or moralizing arguments.
To saying this in the video.
And in the end, your Nazi bitch queen, Rage After Storm, as much as you would like to fantasize about her being silenced, packed her bags and ran away like a little bitch.
I'm not going to get emotional. I'm not going to make this personal to racist Nazi little bitch queen. It seems like you might have gotten a little emotional. And that's really the crux of it all, isn't it? Getting emotional, becoming invested, getting angry and wanting revenge. Revenge against who? Well, revenge against those goddamn people that were disliking that video, that were tweeting at him, that were commenting about his actions and his viewpoints. Those fucking alt-righters, those race realists, just like their little Nazi bitch queen, Rage After Storm. They need to be taken down a peg. They need to be taught a fucking lesson. And who better to do it than Trout and his posse of intellectuals? I'm talking high-tier academics, YouTube scientists.
Most well-known and credentialed scientists of this YouTube community.
And so you can see how this one video by this one content creator can gain momentum, can snowball out of control, and motivate Trout through all of the different ripple effects around it to set on a path of his own self-destruction. Everything he has done for the last 4 months is to get petty revenge at a perceived slight from a political group or those purporting to believe in a certain ideology. He was simply pissed off. And the things we'll be discussing in these videos, they're not just about past events. They pertain to things that are happening currently and are going to be happening in the future. You saw it yourself on the Andy Worski podcast. There were 2 people there that ended up in that Discord with Trout. His 24-hour op Discord we'll be talking about next video. There was Trout himself and Jeff Holiday. You know, it's crazy. I wasn't there somebody else? I mean, there was Trout, yeah, and there was Jeff Holiday, but was anybody else in that call when all this shit started? When the very origin event that led to Trout creating a Discord to go after people? Was there anybody else there aside from Trout and Jeff Holiday? Andy, can you give me some information here?
So we just finished Worski Live number 55. Trout was there, Chris, Jeff, Kasara, some black guy, Dave Cullen, and Based Mama swung by at the end.
Based Mama, of course. Based Mama from the Discord with Trout and Jeff Holiday and all the other people running 24-hour ops. Based Mama, who's running an event called Kilroy. Kilroy, an event that basically disinvited people that have right-wing beliefs. You know, all those identitarians, those icky alt-righters, those people that don't align politically with what she likes.
Like, here's my idea. Okay, if you want to be like race separatists, how about all you guys who don't want to do that, you just stay in your own areas and somehow the rest of us alone.
How weird and coincidental that she would be there at the birthing of Trout's vendetta, and then also in the Discord, and then also making decisions about Kilroy, which somehow shit on people that are right-wing. That really makes me think. That'll be fun to dig into. Put on my tinfoil hat, let's go fucking crazy with this shit. Because I'll tell you, I'm here for the fucking laughs. And what's coming up next is some of the cringiest fucking shit from so many people. It's mind-blowing. This originally was going to be one video, but these autistic fucks can't cool it off for like 5 minutes and let me complete it. It's just fucking day after day of golden quotes. I can't even go over a list of the shit that's coming up. We've got YouTube scientists, we've got people getting cucked. It's some crazy shit. So allow me to introduce you to the concept of a new type of Advent calendar. We're not celebrating baby Jesus. We're celebrating Spurgs. We're going to call this an autism calendar. Every day's a new surprise. So prepare yourself for part 2, my fellow academics.
I'm Pickle Rick!
Lake trout spawn in the lake, not in streams where they can be eaten by predators.
It's like fishing live bait. Look at that fat smallmouth.
Come to the inside of this rainbow trout here, and we're going to make a cut along the back.
Jesus, we should have gassed all of them.
War's changed.
Previously on Mad Men.
And in the end, your Nazi bitch queen, Rage After the Storm, as much as you would like to fantasize about her being silenced, packed her bags and ran away like a little bitch.
Sounds a little bit emotionally invested. A little bit pissed off, but luckily it was just him. Nobody else took part in this. It was all just, wait a minute.
It's because of the Rage After Storm thing. We made a video in response to us bullying Rage After Storm. And make no mistake, we bullied the shit after Rage After the Storm. We bullied her off social media. She took herself off that shit. We bullied the fuck out of her.
Have a good one, guys.
Oh boy.
Look! It looks like they're a cult or something. Now, Rage! You knew when you came to Kekistan that racism is not tolerated. How do you plead?
Hey now, my fellow Kekistani, you can't shadow with an attitude like that. What are you doing, Jeff? Now, for those of you just joining, and even for those that have watched part 1, there might be a few questions in your mind. Who the fuck are these people? And what exactly is going on? Well, it's my hope with this series of videos to try to sum it up as best I can. Now, part 1 was the motivation. You don't really need to know exactly who they are. You just need to know the underlying reason for what's about to happen. And if I were to sum that up as best I could, Trout got angry at a girl on the internet and spent the next 6 months waging an online jihad against her. How highly academic of him. Now with part 2, I'm going to start to clear some things up. Trout is a YouTuber that likes to make typically anti-SJW videos. Rage After Storm happened to take a different approach. He was more right-wing than he was. They had a disagreement over race realism, and he lit her up on a live stream. The very next day, he tweeted at a place she wrote for. 3 weeks after that, she left the internet, and people brought up the fact that he was attempting to basically deplatform her. This ended up enraging Trout. He became bitter and pissed off at the people that kept bringing this up, and he began to see Rage After Storm and those that associate with her political ideology, or even those that were sympathetic to her, as an enemy that needed to be destroyed. So how did our little German general decide to go about this? Well, our Trout, he's a strong swimmer. He's going to go right up that fucking stream. He doesn't care. He's going to read all those books. 800-page books? Hand them over. I'm going to learn everything I can. I'm even going to work with academics. Highly intelligent, intellectual YouTubers.
Most well-known and credentialed scientists of this YouTube community.
And we're going to kick the alt-right's ass. So Trout dedicates nearly a month of his time to honing his skill. He's studying biology.
No, we have fucking not. We have not done a knockout study on nigger dick size.
We have done a knockout study.
No!
He's preparing himself for the final showdown. He's going to release a video that's going to make the alt-right beg for mercy. All those filthy race realists are going to go crying home to mama because Trout is here to drop some knowledge bombs on their ass.
Dude, just talk to my fucking scientist.
Or at least that's what he had hoped was going to happen, which turned out to be the opposite of reality. His very first video wasn't too well received, and almost immediately people began to reply to it. They were looking at some of the finer details of the argument that he presented. One man in particular seemed to catch Trout's ire.
The K-type sexual reproduction strategy is distinctively mammalian.
No, the K-type reproduction strategy is not distinctively mammalian. There are plants, Trout, that are K-type. What the fuck are you talking about?
The male does not remain with the female. The pregnancy is very short. With the female...
Brown trouts do not get pregnant. Did you just say the pregnancy is very short?
happens through the trout swimming upriver to mate. The male does not remain with the female. The pregnancy is very short.
The pregnancy is very short. Brown trouts don't get pregnant.
Along with the Frenchman, there were others that made videos that pissed Trout off. This didn't deter him. Remember, he's on a holy crusade to teach these people a lesson. So he decided he wasn't going to just double down. He wasn't going to triple down. He was quadrupling down on the autism by creating an honest-to-God, literal internet war room to wage jihad against people that were laughing at him. He was already angry enough about Rage After Storm. He was angry enough about the backlash he got from it. But now he's got a fucking Frenchman asking him where the pregnant trout are. He couldn't handle that shit. He couldn't stand being mocked. And so he sets about creating the Academy of Discord. And as you can see, its ranks are filled with only the finest of individuals. Look at these accredited YouTube scientists. Do you see the parentheses? Can you handle that high-level intellect? Oh God, I'm gonna need to huff a few here just to be able to stand shoulder to shoulder with these giants. Oh, fuck yes. Oh, breathe deeply. They're YouTube scientists. So what subjects of study was this Harvard of the internet focusing its attention on? Those are just people of interest. I recognize some of these names. They're getting added on and taken off. I mean, you've got Alt-Hype, you've got Black Pigeon Speaks, David Cedarwood, Red Ice TV, Warren Southern, Millennial Woes. I recognize these names. They all have something in common. I can't quite put my finger on it. But, that's harmless. It's not like they called it targets or something. Like it was some weird internet mafioso hit list that a bunch of autistic internet spurgs compiled together for some weird fucking vendetta. Oh wait, they totally did that. From Waz Lee. Hey dude, could you rename the target section of the Discord to something like people of interest or something? If this group leaks, which it will because they always do. That's a little bit of irony. Having a section labeled targets isn't a good look. Trout. Okay. Hey bro, I was just wondering, could we possibly rename that list you made from people we want to fucking murder and burn their bodies to like fluffy bunnies or something? I'm just worried if somebody sees that, they're gonna think we're fucking insane. That's some incredible OPSEC in this internet war room. Really locking shit down tight, Trout. Really keeping a fucking leash on things, aren't you, buddy? This is about as well done as your biology video. Okay, I hear you saying. So you've got a Discord full of potentially unstable academic intellectuals and YouTubers with a real fucking hit list for a vendetta. What's the German mafia here gonna do with it? Well, the descent into complete LARPing madness really takes place almost side by side with each video that's released after the first one. You'll see by the ratings that not only do the likes start to decrease, the dislikes overtake them, meaning even Trout's own audience, which was initially on his side, grew so bored with this shit, they just didn't want to watch it anymore. But I'm sure that negative reaction didn't adversely affect these mentally unstable individuals. They can't go too magic missile with this LARPing shit, right? It's not like they created operations like it was World War II or something. Oh, never mind. Yeah, they actually did that. Let's look at some of the 24-hour ops the Brain Trust here came up with. One of the intellectual elites, a chemist by the name of Zabby, came up with Operation Red Mackerel. Goal: to feed the opposition false or useless information of the movements or acts of the Allied forces to gain the trust of the opposition and thereby cause information havoc and distress. Execution: the construction of a shadow server where archived or staged conversations and information will be posted. A SOC account controlled by the Allied forces will collect evidence on the shadow server and approach the opposition, setting off stage 3. Ending in the desired effect: total control of oppositional informational networks. Stage 1. The construction of a shadow server. Over 2 weeks of staged conversations prior to the next media launch. Stage 2. The collection of evidence to be reviewed by proper channels and greenlit for dispersion. Stage 3. The approach of the opposition by insider forces, trying to feed useless information that was cleared in Stage 2, gaining trust. Stage 4. Feeding false information to cause minor disturbances, using false information that is too good not to be used, and observing the effect on the opposition media. When cleared by proper channels, advance to Stage 5. Stage 5. Feeding information of a high-risk nature, false doxes of Allied forces, false nudes, etc. Desired effect: full control of trusted opposition informational networks. Effective use of counter-espionage tactics to puppet opposition forces, the oppositional informational networks. It's a French guy that streams on YouTube and laughs at people talking about pregnant trouts is being treated like he's the fucking Axis powers in World War II. But how deep does this autism go? How committed to this are they? We'll have Trout explain it. Proposal 1. I am a dissident scientist and would like a conversation. Proposal 2. Set up fake alt-right YouTube channels and have it slam me. Proposal 3. I am a biology student. Proposal 4. I am a biochemist student. This is so fucking retarded. Trout, what the fuck are you doing? I don't even know if I can read this without a DeviantArt symbol in the background. This is some will you RP with me :3 shit. Young woman, mid-20s, specializing right now in biochemistry at the University of Southampton. Name: Tilly Law. December 30th, 1989 is her birthday. Born in Guildford, hasn't been there since childhood. Parents live in Wickham. Wickham Church of England Primary School, studying biology for 3 years since 2015. Lab assistant from 2010 to 2014. Student travels from 2014 to 2015. Backpacked around the UK. Gotta throw some small details in there, you know, in case that ever comes up in conversation. Hello? Hello, Access Forces? I'm a biochemist student named Tilly Law, and I'm defecting from the Allied Forces. You can trust me. I backpacked around the UK. You know, now might be as good a time as any just to take a step back and really think about what you're looking at. Look at the reaction they have to somebody laughing at their stupidity or having a different opinion. Look at the detail. They're running operations. Who LARPs like this and doesn't drink bleach immediately afterwards? But if that wasn't autistic enough, they have to take the puppeteering to the next level. Let me introduce you to the convoluted plan. Operation Mincemeat. Now this is some wild shit. Their plan, if I were to sum it up, reading this just ridiculous fucking document, is to leak the idea that Thunderfoot or Sargon are going to make videos. That is the information. They're going to accidentally release this information. And then from there, essentially what they want to have happen is the alt-right reacts and gets angry for some reason. And because the alt-right gets angry, now Thunderfoot and Sargon actually end up making the video. You know, Thunderfoot put up a video talking about being invited into this Discord.
He wanted me to install Discord on my computer, which I'd never heard of before, and it's some sort of group chat type thing, which was getting into quite a bit of an ask at that point, because, you know, now I actually had to do something. Anyway, so I installed Discord on my computer, and it promptly crashed my computer, which means that maybe the only message I've ever sent on Discord is it working yet? And after my computer died and I got it back up again, it was simply, look, I don't have time for this sort of crap.
It's probably a really fucking good idea that you didn't stick around, because they don't give a shit about you, Thunderfoot. They don't care that you're a scientist. They don't care that you actually do shit in real life. You weren't Thunderfoot the scientist to them. You were Thunderfoot the cudgel. They wanted to use you. They thought they were so fucking smart and you were so goddamn stupid that they could puppeteer you into doing what they wanted. They were going to use your subscriber number to their benefit. They didn't give two fucks about what you thought. That's what Operation Mincemeat is. Are you starting to get a handle on the wild shit going on in this Discord? Here's the public presenting face these people give up. That they're honorable and they're dignified, and that they fight the good fight and they have the moral high ground. And yet they create hit lists. They come up with fake doxes, fake accounts to discredit the other side. And then they seek to use people to their own ends without actually informing them of what the fucking plan is. And that's an opinion you'll see expressed by multiple people. Just like Waz Lee said, it looks bad calling it this. Not it is bad to have this, but it looks bad to call it this. Sandre says the same fucking thing. It was stupid to contact UKIP crowd, not because I care about Rage After Storm, fuck that bitch, but because I foresaw this situation as a possibility. It's used as ammo. Well, I think the best action is to simply demand evidence. He's not going to be able to deliver. By the way, Jeff Holiday, aren't you a neurology student? With all these intellectual heavyweights, all these YouTube scientists, these internet academics, you figure one of them would have rubbed their brain cells together to come up with a few questions about the morality of what's going on in this morally righteous, anti-race realism crusading server. You won't just have to deal with the alt-right, you'll have to possibly also deal with AIU's scumfucks. These guys have been taking every single fucking opportunity to get at me. I have seen them siding with Sean and Jen, Edgy Sphinx, Christy Winters, and now with the alt-right at large. Whoever currently is trying to come for me, AIU scumfucks follow suit, and also go after those I work with. And be warned, AIU scumfucks are probably the single most vile, reprehensible, and disgusting fucking thing on YouTube. Now they're talking about atheism is unstoppable. Listen to that vitriolic hatred they have for him. The worst thing on YouTube. Now compare that statement to this one. Think we could maybe use that to get Devin to go after Edgy? That would be fun. So on the one hand, they're saying that AIU is the worst fucking thing on the internet. And on the other hand, they want to use him to their own benefit. Just like they wanted to use Thunderfoot. Earlier, I showed you the 3 videos and how the dislike ratio had increased as time went on. People became disillusioned with Trout. They didn't want to hear about it anymore. The very last of those videos that he had done ended up getting flagged. Now, multiple people mirrored that video, but it was assumed that the alt-right was behind it. Now, why that is, I can't tell you, because from what I've seen was them actually enjoying watching his videos. Multiple people loved to pick them apart. If anything, it was a festive mood around them because they liked to laugh at how fucking horrible they were. Nonetheless, Trout and his friends and people that liked his content made all these public statements decrying how terrible it was that video was flagged. That flagging that video is just, it's an awful fucking thing. Fast forward just a little bit, and JF releases a video with audio that was leaked from Trout's server. He's making a video on it, and what do you know? That video gets flagged down. Now, what's the reaction from Trout and his assorted, assembled academics? Well, first you have the public statements. We didn't flag that, but if it did get flagged, good, it should have. It was illegal. Those were leaked audio recordings. You don't have a right to play them for anyone. A bit of a difference from what was being said in the Discord. I told you, for fuck's sake, report that stream. Now follow that up with this, an admission from the admin in Trout's own server that he himself actually flagged the video.
Habib.
Hello. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, let me just lower your audio just a smidgen, it's a bit loud. Okay, Habib, you were the admin of that server.
I was an admin since day one, yes. Yeah, something that you called me out on as well.
Yeah.
And I think since JF been here, I think I better explain myself. And yes, I still stand by flagging your video, JF.
So it goes from, we didn't do it, but we're glad that it happened, to we should totally do it, to yeah, we actually did do that. But I think the example that personally gets me the most about this sort of behavior that repeatedly happens in his internet war room would be in relation to the New York Times reporter. Now, as Trout said, on a live stream, this lady had contacted him and he had invited her into his Discord server.
I mean, one thing that JF brought up, which is like the sleaziest thing that he got out of his espionage, I was contacted 3 days ago by a New York Times journalist. Since he brought this up in a weird fucking way, I might as well address this as well. She was mainly interested, not really as much as in me, as she was into Joan. She wanted to know the people I work with, so I introduced her to him, and I invited her into the server. I gave her her own thread, and then I asked all the biologists, chemists, and psychologists, and physicists, and what we not all have already, to write a summary about the work. Then I asked why they do this. Then I asked all the YouTubers in the server to write a summary of what they are and why they do this and that.
Well, that's all well and good. What's the problem with the New York Times? She just wanted to talk to people. Look at them all giving answers. They're just giving some basic background information. She just wants to know about their fight with the alt-right in relation to race realism. And Trout's more than happy to help her. I mean, that's not hypocritical at all. Oh, fucking wait a second. I seem to remember something that happened not that long ago. I think it was in this fucking year, wasn't it? Oh yeah, PewDiePie getting his ass fucked by every mainstream media outlet. Boy, it sure would be funny if the New York Times played a part in that. Oh shit, they fucking did! Well, that doesn't mean anything. It's not like Trout actually made a video where he denounced them doing... Oh fuck, he did do that.
Men testing boundaries in the angriest corners of the internet from that cancerous, repugnant cesspit known as BuzzFeed. YouTube's monsters, PewDiePie and his populist revolt from the New York Times. The articles all have the same undertone to them. YouTube is infested with Nazis, racists, and other vile scum, and it is time to strangle YouTube's creators by cutting down on the financial assets available to them.
At least he didn't try to Oh fuck, he did try to boycott them. That's some nice payback, Trout. That's some really fucking great moral grandstanding on your part. So let me see if I get this straight. You want to boycott the New York Times because you think they report unfairly about YouTubers. You go on a fucking tirade about it. PewDiePie retweets you for defending him. And yet, when the opportunity comes to you to use that very weapon that was used against him, against somebody you don't like, you invite that slimy fuck into your server to help her. And you can look at this lady's timeline to see exactly what she was talking about around that timetable. Look at the alt-right. Terrible goddamn Nazis. Go look at that article and read it. And then try to plead ignorance with me that you didn't know exactly what she fucking wanted to do. Oh, the New York Times is terrible. Oh, it's coming after PewDiePie. We need to fight the power. So what is it? Do you really have that opinion, Trout, or did you just want to suck his dick to get some fucking subs out of it? Listen to your ass talking to Naked Ape about how you responded to a Vice News reporter in relation to all of this.
Hello, Mr. Colwyn. No, I am not with the alt-right, and I have spoken out against the alt-right. I have decided to come in support of PewDiePie, together with the overwhelming majority of the YouTube community, because he has been a victim of an injustice. He has been slandered and his reputation dragged through the mud by a big media outlet on the basis of a lie. The actions by the Wall Street Journal have been slanderous and flat-out wrong, and anyone with a basic understanding of ethics should be able to see this for what it is. I also believe that if this course of sleazy actions is allowed to continue unchallenged, it will result in a purge of YouTube by a new media platform, by an old, outdated media, namely the print media. What was done to PewDiePie could have just as well been done to everyone on this platform, and will probably be done to everyone on this platform if the Wall Street Journal is allowed to get away with this.
Oh, we YouTubers are getting branded. We're getting fucked over. It's terrible what the mainstream media is doing. They're not giving us a fair shake. Here, let the fucking New York Times reporter from the same outlet that did this shit to somebody I defended into my Discord server to do it to somebody else. Get fucked. What are you doing? What is this autistic shit? Okay, need to calm down a little bit. Getting a little bit heated. When you're knee-deep in digging through this shit, it's hard not to come away with a bit of a stink. And the spurgery, it's been going for a week now. And it's multiplying and expanding. It's like a fucking forest fire on the internet. It won't stop. And there's so much of it, and I can't keep track of it all. We haven't even scratched the surface of it all yet. There's so much. There's so much retardation going on that this doesn't even begin to cover it. And it's only downhill from here. It is only fucking downhill from here. So tune in for part 3 when we start talking about vibrating nipple clamps. And no, I'm not making that up.
We decided to kick it up a notch with a ball pit.
Yahoo!
Yahoo is right. Let's rock.
Who doesn't love a good trash fire? There's no better way to keep warm during those long winter months than by huddling up close and watching the combustion take place before you. And conventions, well, they fit the bill. Now, there are a myriad of them for almost every subject you could imagine. They come and go all year round. And every once in a while, once in a blue moon, you'll come across a convention that devolves into complete and utter madness. And that insanity could include a whole host of things, from furries throwing shit-filled nappies onto people's Subarus, to fat tumblerettes swimming in piss-filled ball pits. But it takes a special kind of retard, I'm talking special ed levels of stupid, to fuck a convention up before it even begins. Typically, the convention actually has to happen first before it can devolve into a shit show. But that's not the case with Kilroy. The free speech event, everybody's been talking about it. All your favorite YouTubers are going to be there. It sounds like a fantastic idea, and for a while it was a fantastic idea. Until the realization of what it was and what it would become started to fully hit people. The first cracks in the facade came from Tim Pool when on December 11th he tweeted this out to his followers. For those attending Kilroy in Phoenix this April, I am pulling out and will not be speaking any longer. Apologies to those looking to see me there. And he quickly followed this up with a little bit more of an explanation. They asked for a 16-month non-compete and a 3-year NDA. They were willing to negotiate on the non-compete, but not the non-disclosure agreement. They cited safety reasons for the 3-year NDA. Strange thing to ask, and I can't trust the reasoning for such an agreement. Now, Tim elaborated even more on this in a video he put up for the people that were coming to see him.
I was asked to sign a 16-month non-compete agreement and a 3-year non-disclosure agreement in order to participate in this event. I find those contracts very strange. I have a speaking agent. I have numerous contracts through United Talent. I speak at events all the time. In fact, this week in New York, I'm speaking at an event on technology. This is not standard. This is not normal. And I was not given an adequate reason as to why any of these provisions, any of these agreements were asked to be signed.
And Tim wasn't alone. Other people that were scheduled to speak said they had issues with the non-disclosure agreement as well.
Thing's a farce. I mean, the majority of the headliners there, actually all of them have spoken in various locations before. Never in my life, I mean, I've been given contracts, but I've never been given an NDA non-compete that spans several years to a 100-mile radius. I mean, that's cuckoo banana cakes.
Now, the big motivator for Tim as to why he put the tweets up and the video up was to explain to the people that might have pre-purchased tickets or donated money to come see him. He wanted to explain to them why he wasn't going to be there. People donated and were expecting to see me there. I'm obligated to inform them I will not be. People asked why I wasn't going, and I told them. I've kept a lot private here, but I'm willing to publish everything if people are not satisfied. Well, as it turns out, not everybody was completely satisfied. In particular, the organizer of the event. It isn't strange to ask. It's standard practice. I was clear that I'm not willing to risk the anonymity of dissidents whose lives are at risk for attending and speaking at Kilroy. Calling me out in public isn't going to compel me to bend on this. No one called you out. I'm obligated to inform people that thought I was going that I will no longer be there. But it gets stranger still. One of the featured speakers on the Kilroy page, an account called Harambe Desserts, had this to say: Tim Pool is not an ally to ex-Muslims, and he is going around bad-mouthing and lying about Based Mama, who is an ex-Muslim too. On that fact alone and his lies, he is despicable. Hate though? He is just a stupid ass. Not worth hating at all. I don't know about that. All I see is people mocking an NDA that protects ex-Muslims. I mean, how much of an ass butt do you need to be? I don't trust that dude, Tim Pool, as far as I can throw him. He obviously is shady and selfish as anything for making a big deal out of the NDA. I'm fairly certain Tim Pool doesn't know who he's fucking with. Neither did I when I responded to this insane bullshit calling him a bad ally for having issues with an NDA contract, because I received this response: dude is in for a rude awakening with us. Oh yes. Don't ever fuck with ex-Muslims. You will regret it. Don't fuck with us. You're gonna regret it. I wonder what she meant by that.
You leave us alone, we'll leave you alone. You fuck our shit up, we'll fuck your shit up until you can't fuck our shit up anymore.
I'm a former Muslim, a former extremist, a former terrorist supporter.
Well, these sound like some stable and well-adjusted individuals. I'm sure I'm just misreading that playful tweet as a threat. I can do a whole lot better for threats if you want. It can be a game. Well, I do love video games, so I couldn't pass that challenge up. And it looks like it was answered. Because yesterday when I put up a tweet promoting this video and what the topic would be on, all of a sudden, from out of nowhere, a complete and utter coincidence, videos started getting flagged on my channel. That's rather strange. It's almost like somebody was attempting to shut the channel down so this video couldn't go up. But why would they do that? What would motivate them to want to shut this particular video down? Oh, maybe it has to do with the fact that Based Mama was a part of Trout's server, the server that was targeting people on the right side of politics. Could that have something to do with it? I mean, Based Mama was in there. She admits she was in there.
I'm gonna let you know right now, I got invited in, and then I just never left.
And good old Halal Desserts here, well, she was somewhat related to it as well. If you remember back when JF's video was flagged for playing audio that was leaked from the server Trout had, she tweeted this out: I have no idea what I flagged. I hope it was real juicy. Ah ha 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 ha. So we have two individuals directly related to the Kilroy event, one of them the organizer of it, another her good friend and featured speaker at the event, both related to a server which was doing some rather underhanded things. And mysteriously, when I announce my videos coming out, I start getting videos flagged on my account. Really gets that fucking noggin jogging, doesn't it? But I guess I'm getting intellectually checkmated here. This is some 4D chess shit. I'm dealing with intellectual giants.
Because my IQ is extremely high. It is extremely frustrating to not only be an intellectual anomaly myself, which I guess 140 is above average, whatever.
Most well-known and credentialed scientists of this YouTube community.
But apparently that enormous IQ, it just wasn't enough. People began to either pull out or they were pushed out of the event. The list is so goddamn long that you'd have a better chance naming the people that are still coming rather than the ones that dropped out. Tim Pool, Dave Cullen, Faith Goldie, James Alsep, Andrew Torba, Brittany Pettibone, Millennial Woes, Nick Monroe, Andy Worski, and Chris. Peter Sweden baked Alaska, Lauren Southern. The names go on and on and on. But that's just petty ego. I mean, that's what Mundane Matt told me. These people are just too full of themselves. That's the issue. And then, of course, Sargon dropped out. I haven't been following the recent drama with Kilroy too closely, but I'm going to pull out of it anyway. It seems to be mismanaged. I put $250 into it, but I don't expect to get that back. Fucking Sargon of Akkad with his goddamn ego issues, huh, Matt? Oh, I'm sorry, what's that? Did you change your position all of a sudden?
Matt, is Sargon being a drama whore for pulling out since you said this is mostly an ego thing?
With Sargon, I'm not too sure.
So would I do it? Would I do it? And I have
Andy, come on. Andy, come on.
Quick, somebody send this clip to V. He's always getting accused of being the Sargon of Akkad dick rider. It looks like he's got a little competition for the job. Well, goddamn, that's a lot of people getting kicked out or dropping out. But was it all because of contracts? Was it all because of the non-disclosure agreement and the non-compete that Faith Goldie and Tim Pool talked about? Well, no, there were a whole host of other issues. People were complaining that they weren't getting their emails answered. They were being ignored.
We were getting ignored. A lot of the concerns were getting ignored until it was put in front of the public.
I'm sorry. That's not a fair representation. They weren't being ignored.
So I sent an email to Base Mama. I say, hey, some weird stuff is going on over there, y'all. What is going on? Oh, my buddy's getting disinvited. We can't talk about what we want to talk about. James now, his picture's gone. What's going on, guys? Fill us this in. And I get a response email that is completely blank from Base Mama's account. So what does that tell me? And I responded back to her. I said, hi, it's just so you know, I got a blank email. Don't know if you intended to write something in it. But indeed, nothing showed up.
But that can't be correct, because as you can hear from Sister Danger and Based Mama, the two people that are working on the event, they never forget to respond to an email. They're professionals.
And I'm like, dude, I understand. Like, you don't even have to tell me. Like, I'm at that where, did I miss one? Did I miss one? Well, you know, you talk to me. I'm like maniacally checking to make sure I didn't accidentally not see somebody's email, because I don't want to forget anybody.
I agree. Like, I kind of have this general policy of always be the last person to respond, right? That way the ball is never left in your court as having been dropped or whatever. Like, always be the last person to respond.
She left my email unanswered.
Well, there's got to be more than just a few missed emails. Is there anything else going on? Like, say, being lied to about the panels you can do?
I had pitched the idea for doing a panel on offensive comedy and where the line is and how we present ourselves online. Based Mama declined immediately.
Well, there must be a good reason Andy Worski was told he couldn't do a panel on offensive comedy. Like, say, one of Based Mama's associates was already going to do it, and Andy can go fuck himself.
Foxy here, who hasn't said shit about fuck this whole time, is going to be on the comedy panel and basically discuss like how, you know, the restriction of free speech in this offense culture is really kind of hampering comedy, where you can't be as free with it as you want to be.
How's that dicking feel, Andy? Probably similar to what James Alsop got when he was bent over and hit with this gem.
She said my speech on identitarianism was banned because it was a topic that she didn't want to bring up at the conference. This is, of course, contradicted by the fact that listed in the topic sheet she sent me was a speech called The History of Identitarianism in Ireland.
I find it funny that there's been kerfuffle from the alt-right side because I won't entertain a panel on identitarian politics. I'll go ahead and tell you. Here's the reason why. And I told everybody this. We don't have time. We don't have the space. It's not on the agenda.
Listed in the topic sheet she sent me was a speech called The History of Identitarianism in Ireland.
It's just a kerfluffle. Come on. Everybody makes mistakes, and the super genius brain trust over here, they fucked up a little bit, but they're innocent fuck-ups. There's no ulterior motive behind any of it. It's not like this is one giant fucking scam that sucked in multiple groups of people. That would be ridiculous. I mean, listen to Andy. He came up with this idea at VidCon.
It was our idea. I was one of the initiators of this idea. It was me, Chris, my buddy who I filmed with, Failure, Rucka, and I think, what was his name? Tanuki or Toki or something? Failure? What was his name? Starts with a T. Do you know what I'm
Wild
talking about?
Tanuki.
Yeah, Wild Tanuki. Like, here, or that's it. It was all of us, and we were all at that shrimp place during VidCon, and we were the ones who were like, "Oh, we should do our own VidCon where it's like all of us, and we can meet, viewers and stuff, and talk about whatever we want." And then we were all just hanging out outside, and Sister Danger was there. We brought it up to her, and she's like, "That's a great idea. I've done these things before." And then when she spoke to Based Mama and Dave, they sort of took a hold of that.
Well, isn't that wonderful? Based Mama is going to help Andy realize his dream to put on this idea for a convention. But wait a minute, though. That's not what Based Mama told Bunty King.
This has been in the works for quite a while, so I'm just.
How long has this been in the works for, if you mind me asking?
About 3 years. We've been
3 years.
Yeah,
3 years you've been planning this with Dave.
No, I was planning it with Kevin.
That's really strange. When I Google VidCon, it shows me that it ran from the 21st to the 25th. And the social media accounts for the Kilroy event went up after VidCon, which would seem to substantiate what Andy Worski is saying. Yet there's Based Mama telling Bunty King this is something she's been working on for 3 years. Well, that's a bit of an inconsistency. I mean, all she wants to do is help establish this event. Oh, wait, did I say event? I meant business.
Most NDAs are indefinite, so I put a 3-year limit on it because I'm like, well, that's plenty of time to establish our business model and streamline the process so other people can take Kilroy to their cities, and do their thing, and we can help them out with getting contracts and contracting with vendors and venues and doing all this shit. I was like, yeah, that's cool. We had a fucking plan. It wasn't like we just pulled this shit out of our asses.
Yeah, let's franchise that fucker out. Hey, let's take it even further. How about some trademarks and copyrights?
What we could do is trademark our brand for Kilroy was here.
Hell, even throw in a few employment NDAs and non-disclosure agreements.
These contracts are the same as going to employment. Not the same. I'm sorry. I'm going to really take that back because I already got raked over the coal.
That sounds like a recipe for success, but definitely not what Andy Worski and a whole host of other people signing up for this particular event thought when they signed up for it. Oh, God, I'm getting so sleepy here. I'm just going to stop thinking about it. I don't want my ego to get in the way. Hey, guys, let's go take a nap. Anybody else getting tired? I mean, all that matters at the end of the day is that business loan gets taken care of.
So when I go into these places 6 months ago, trying to secure spots, they're like, we want a deposit now. So I took out a loan to put down the deposits. So
wow.
I'm into this shit for $30,000 already.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. I don't think anybody knew that.
I must have misheard her. I could have sworn she just said that she took those loans out 6 months ago, which would have been in June, right after VidCon. No, clearly she meant 3 years ago. Fuck you, Andy Worski. You don't know what you're talking about. I know that look you're giving me. Take the fucking tinfoil hat off. These are all just amazing coincidences. You fucking conspiracy theorists with your crazy shit. I mean, sure, you could look at the timetable and draw some conclusions about what's really going on here and all the lies that we've heard. Or all those other lies. Oh, did I mention all the other lies? Like the lies they told Tim Pool about the contract he was signing?
And as I responded to their email, I told them it was insulting. To which they responded with an appeal to popularity. Everyone has signed this before you. That's a lie. A lot of the speakers didn't even know this agreement existed. No, they certainly did not sign this before me.
Or the whole thing about having to remove people because there just wasn't enough room. I'm sorry, Baked Alaska. We need to trim the fat a little bit. It's too popping off in here for you to stick around. We got too many speakers showing up.
And we still have approximately a week's worth of guests that we're going to continue to roll out, and we're still signing people, okay? Then we immediately took Baked Alaska off the website because we were already overbooked, okay?
You are saying tomorrow you have a guest announcement. Yet when Baked Alaska, you said that there was a scheduling conflict.
Yeah, you guys are overbooked.
Already full. And now you're still adding people to the roster when you already told people that you were overbooked.
No.
That's not a good look. That was a lie that was caught in the very same fucking stream later on. And in other streams too.
I'm sure he'll put together an email for you.
Are all the panels already scheduled out with all the people that are coming, or?
No, we intentionally left a good chunk open.
It's so weird. It feels like everything about this event might be completely fucking fake. And it only gets worse if you look at the timetable. When Dave Cullen put up the initial fundraising video for the Kilroy event on November 16, it only took a matter of 3 weeks for them to hit the official goal of $85,000. That's fucking impressive. That is a lot of money. December 6th, we've raised all the money we need. And that's just the amount listed up on the website. We're not even talking about PayPal here.
You can pledge anonymously without buying a ticket. You can give any amount that you want. It's not a big deal. Like, I gotta tell you, I appreciate everybody who's buying tickets, but I appreciate more people who can't be there that are still supporting it. Like, that, to me, that's so awesome.
So you've got all these big YouTubers from a diverse group of people that are bringing in all this audience for you. And all these people are paying enormous amounts of money to meet people they want to see in real life. If you look at the rewards on the website, that's clearly listed. And yet, strangely, so very strangely, a majority of people start to run into issues. It starts with Baked Alaska, who was up on the website for a day or two, just long enough for his followers to donate money, but not long enough for him to figure out what the fuck is going on. Let me clue you in, Baked. You got used like a puppet. Just like everybody in this situation got fucked over. You've all been bamboozled. You are a nice shiny object to wave out in front of retards to get the money to come in. And then once the money came in, suddenly we have issues. Panels aren't showing up. Emails aren't going out. Ridiculous contracts are being forced on people. It's almost like they wanted to use YouTubers for marketing.
This is a very important concern right here. Is a lot of the donations were made under the promise that under the promises that certain guests would be appearing, and you put the guest list up there, and people saw who was on that list and donated to see certain people. And then as people start pulling out, and as you know, all these complications are happening, doesn't it seem like the donations and the event itself was made under a false promotion?
I wanted to put people up for the crowdfunder that people kind of knew, like they could see them and knew who they were, just as part of the marketing. And then I didn't go out of my way to show that there were academics who were actually attending, that we're going to be talking about other things, not on YouTube, not internet celebrities or whatever. So we've got like a reward system in the works, and meeting up with people is going to be one of the rewards.
So they could fund academics who weren't as popular.
I'm trying to be amenable to them as much as I can, but they're not really that big, and they're not really that influential, especially when we're courting like academics, like actual academics, not pretend YouTube academics. Like, we're actually going for people who are actually like researching in these fields and making progress in these areas and actually like working for this.
Well, don't make
so
them
I'm not like super concerned about it, because that's, well, the problem is, like I said, I think the biggest mistake I made was not making it clear that this is not a YouTube convention. And a lot of, like, we can't list a lot of people that are on there that are very left-leaning because they're a fucking security risk.
That's why I open call. I didn't want just people who are YouTube famous, internet famous. That doesn't mean anything.
Well, the only thing that could make this shit show worse if there was a political angle on it. I mean, we fucked over YouTubers and bilked their audience for money. But could we fuck over political opponents just for the fun of it? Well, I think we could if we follow a few steps. And if you remember Trout server with all his magnificent 24-hour ops like Purple Starfish or whatever the fuck he called this dumb shit, Based Mama was in there. She was right in that fucking server, and in that server, there was a hit list. And surprisingly, a good amount of the people on that hit list were signed up to show up at the event. People like James Alsip, Baked Alaska, Lauren Southern. These people and their audiences donated money or bought tickets. They were used to help promote this. I wonder if she has any political opinions on these people.
Okay, first of all, there's about 70% of the people on there that I don't politically align with, and there's a couple of them, I won't name names, that I actually do not like as a person. I think it'll be great to kind of bring social justice back to where it's supposed to fucking be.
Yeah, I agree.
Girl power. Let's bring social justice back to where it needs to be. Fuck those white nationalists. But don't fuck their money. We need their money. We have a $30,000 business loan to pay off and trademarks to apply for. Well, Jim, that doesn't prove any malice on her part. Well, as she said, she is Kilroy.
Because at the end of the day, Kilroy is just me.
And the Kilroy social media page that's up only has like 130 tweets. So it's really weird then, isn't it, that a social media account used to promote a free speech event would be retweeting Trout and T advertising his dirty trick server. If she's calling the shots, and this is her event, and her event is officially promoting him by retweeting him on their official fucking account, raises a few questions, doesn't it? It's a twofer, really. You get a bunch of gullible YouTubers to promote your event, which you let them think is actually their event, but you have no real intention of ever letting them show up and speak. Now, you go about this by a myriad of different ways, by making panels inaccessible, losing emails, creating contracts which are just purely ridiculous in the hopes that it will drive them away or anger them, to make room for all those top-tier intellectual academics that you've always dreamed of gathering together in one place to have 48 panels on Muslim this and Muslim that. And you also get to take all this money from right-wing sources which you disagree with, people you find abhorrent, and then basically just throw them off the website. Kick them off, remove their name, it doesn't matter, you've already got the cash.
Sometime last week, I was dropped from the Kilroy speakers list without notice. That's how you know you're dealing with true professionals.
Seems pretty cut and dry to me. For that 3-week period of fundraising, there weren't contracts sent out. There weren't NDAs discussed. Everybody seemed to be taken by surprise at the very end, after the money was gathered. Then, once the money was in that bank account, suddenly we have issues. Suddenly we need to clear some room, make some space for the important people, not you fucking YouTubers. You don't matter. But hey, you've still got things to look forward to at Kilroy. I mean, sure, Sargon's not going to be in the ball pit. That's a bit disheartening. I think we all really wanted to see him just swimming around in his natural environment, but sadly that's just not going to happen. But at least he can show up for the fights. The good old fisticuffs. I'm talking Jeff Holiday throwing down with Coach Red Pill.
Can you just not be a pussy about it?
You know something? I'm going to go to the Kilroy event.
Okay, good. Come to the Kilroy event.
I'm going to go to the Kilroy event, and I'm going to look you up.
When you find me at Kilroy, that you were just saying, Coach, that you're going to come find me at Kilroy, what are you going to do when you find me? You're going to give me a big old sloppy kiss?
You'd love that, wouldn't you?
Oh, yeah. I love older men. So what are you going to do? You saying you're going to come and you're going to find me at Kilroy. What are you going to do? We're going to have a chat? You're going to buy me a burger?
You'll be talking, but I won't be talking much, probably.
Okay. So you're gonna patiently sit there and you're going to listen and absorb everything that I have to say, and that'd be great. Cool. Sounds good. Is that it? That all you're going to do when you come to Kilroy, man?
Or Johnny Fox taking on Mundane Matt.
Here's the I know I thought this. Like, here's the thing, Johnny. You want to have this conversation in person, dude? I'm all for it. Get your ass to Phoenix in fucking April. For whether you're going to Kilroy 1 or Kilroy 2, whatever Andy's making. Why don't you come on out? Why don't you come on out? Come on out.
Well,
come on out, sir. That's my suggestion. Come on out. Come on out. Come on, let's have a conversation. Come on, get on that plane, Johnny. Get on that Iron Horse. Get your ass out to Phoenix. Come on.
That sounds like some good old fun. Who doesn't want to watch people beat the shit out of each other? This sounds like a fantastic event. And hopefully, Kilroy's a great success for them because they're going to need the money, with breaking the law and all. Oh, did I forget to mention that part? You know that 3-week crowdfunder they had where they had a ton of people's names up, raising money to show up at the event, and how they sent contracts out after that, after December 6th, after the money had been raised? Turns out that might have been completely fucking illegal. Don't take my word for it. Ask Based Mama.
But then I got a second problem, which I found out the other day, is I can't advertise people that I don't have signed on to speak.
Yeah.
Because that would be violating false advertising laws in Arizona.
So if I'm understanding this right, she's basically admitting that she illicitly raised $85,000. Brilliant. That is 140 IQ, ladies and gentlemen.
Because my IQ is extremely high. It is extremely frustrating to not only be an intellectual anomaly myself, which I guess 140 is above average, whatever.
If you take on the alt-right, you will lose. And you'll look pretty fucking stupid at the end of it. And here's why. We in the alt-right ceased caring about social acceptability some time ago. And we are, as a result of that, sometimes quite brash and mindlessly offensive, sure, but also we are looking for the truth. We are courageous. And we are speaking the truth. By contrast, you in the skeptic community, quite frankly, are a bunch of lying, ignorant, cowardly, beta weaklings. We are ready for you. Believe me.
Oh boy, we've got an internet war. There's nothing more exciting than watching LARPers on both sides go at it on the digital landscape, hurling insults like cannonballs across social media, gathering their forces together on YouTube to put out a hot new video to take down the other motherfucker. And this saga has been one of the larger battles in that internet war between, as Millennial Woes puts it, the alt-right and
the skeptics, the skeptics, the skeptics, the skeptics, the...
That's right, the skeptics. That's Bunty King, pictured here with his adoptive family at the tender age of 8. There's been a little bit of a heated conflict between the two groups, and Trout was seen as a general among the skeptic forces trying to take the battle to the alt-right. Now, we've covered a lot of stuff, a lot of the dirty details of what went down in Trout's server, talked about the origin of what started it all, and we talked about a few of the offshoots from the personalities which inhabited that server. A server, might I remind you, that was stock full of YouTube academics.
My academics.
And individuals that have watched the 6th season of Rick and Morty.
Because my IQ is extremely high.
They had some firepower behind them, but they just couldn't win the fight fair. They needed to get dirty. They needed to smear their opponents. We talked a little bit about it in the second video, the super secret 24-hour operations that they were running across the internet. Who can forget the captivating Tom Clancy-esque spy saga of Tilly Law? A genius idea by a mastermind puppeteer. Nobody could see through that. Even though everything was misspelled, she's still a highly intelligent chemistry student. But we only really scratched the surface. I saved the best part for last. In this finale, we're going to talk about the main issue with the server, the thing that really brought it to a head, got the public's attention, and basically led to Trout self-exiling himself from the internet. And to do that, I need to introduce you to Coach Red Pill. Now, Coach Red Pill is a YouTuber that makes videos that lean to the right, as you probably could surmise from his username. And if you're not familiar with his videos, you're probably familiar with his use of cameras. At least if you've posted on 4chan within the last 2 weeks. You'll know it when you see it, it's Coach posting. Now, Coach was no friend of Trout. In fact, you could say their relationship was downright antagonistic. Coach was very open about his opinion on what he thought of Trout, releasing multiple videos within a short succession talking about his reaction to the Rage After Storm incident. And in each subsequent video, the criticism grew harsher and harsher. Now, these sorts of criticisms and videos aren't inconsistent with Coach's video style. In fact, he released videos even earlier than this, taking shots at the skeptic community. But I think what really got Trout's attention were the ones that were personally addressed to him. I could almost nail it down to a specific thing that I think really set him on the path of wanting revenge against Coach Red Pill.
And the reason I didn't care for his voice is that I realized something almost immediately when I listened to him. He's faking his accent. You see, the kind of accent that he uses, or he tries to use rather, is known as RP, received pronunciation. Now, received pronunciation is not a regional accent. In point of fact, it's a social accent, if you will. It's the form of speech that British upper class kids learn in private school, usually boarding school.
He's faking his accent. Now, why would that be important? What about that would bother Trout so much? Well, to understand that, you need to know a little bit about Trout. From what I understand, he was initially a high school dropout who had to go to night courses to get his degree. And so there's a bit of a chip on his shoulder. And here comes this guy, Coach Red Pill, saying that he's a phony, that he's not as intelligent as he's presenting himself to be. We've all heard Trout's statements for the last couple of months about his YouTube scientists, about academics, about all those biology books he's reading. He desperately wants to put forward the facade that he is well educated and highly intelligent. And yet here comes this YouTuber who basically calls him out and says, you're faking your accent to try to sound more intelligent than you really are. Imagine how pissed off Trout would be. Again, this is the same man that created a super secret server to hunt down the alt-right and right-wingers because people didn't take his reaction to Rage After Storm particularly well. He's the sort of individual that once you slight him, he doesn't forget it. If he has a vendetta, he'll take that to his fucking grave unless he puts you in one first.
If I find the guy who doxed my brother, I will squeeze the life out of his throat. I will stay until I watch you burn. And I will force feed the ashes of your children down your throat.
Genuine?
That isn't intimidating at all. It's not threatening at all, is it now?
Is this genuine?
A boot stomping on your face.
So what does this building animosity lead to? What actually ends up happening after Coach Red Pill does this, and once Trout has his server established to go to war with the alt-right? Well, that's where the doxing comes in. Oh boy, can I use that word? Is it doxing with 1x or 2x's? Are we talking private information or hacked information? There's been so many different definitions bandied about by all the individuals that are involved in this about what constitutes doxing. It seems everybody has a different fucking opinion on it. But you know what? Because this is Trout we're talking about, let's go with his definition on it. So Trout, was there doxing going on in your server?
As many of you are aware, 3 months ago I have opened up a Discord server with the intention of gathering together biologists, chemists and other academics with YouTubers willing to make videos on race realism. About a week ago we were suddenly confronted with accusations that we were running a doxing platform. We were stunned by those accusations and we did not know where they were coming from, consequently acting abrasive and angry towards those who levelled the accusations. We have now, through the help of The Guardian, who you may know on Twitter as TheGuardian_002, and who was also a member of our server, learned that a member was in fact gathering docs of people. Zeph, who was introduced to me by Liz, who I had known for 2 years, and trusted that she wouldn't be coming in here with malicious intentions.
Well, there you go. There were docs on that server, at least according to Trout, but he didn't do nothing. He's a good boy. He's innocent. A sweet little Germanic angel. It was all that fucking alien's fault. That alien of ill repute and his lady Liz. I mean, you heard it yourself in the apology video, except for the fact that it was complete and utter bullshit. And another attempt by Trout to misinform people and throw others under the bus to save his own ass. So let me paint you a picture of the most autistic shit I can. I hope you're ready for this to get gayer than you thought possible. I'd like to call this Operation Chocolate Starfish. There aren't going to be any Tilly laws involved, but I'll try to keep it interesting. This all begins back on November 3rd with this conversation between Trout and Zev. I have Coach Red Pill's real name. Zev, whoa, how did you get it? Trout then invites him into a private conversation. Weeks later, on November 19th, it's happening. Jim's friends are on the case. We now have to sit back. Now, I know what you're thinking. Wait a minute, what if Zev doctored that image? How do we know that that's actually legitimate? How do we know it's real? Well, you're going to hear audio that confirms this later on, but let me continue with my timeline. The very next day, Jeff Holiday and Coach Red Pill get into a bit of a tiff on Twitter. You can hear them talking about this encounter on a Warski live stream.
My claim is that you've sent a tweet to CRP at some point in your life which included the first name of Coach Red Pill in a way that was threatening of the fact that you knew about him more than he wants to be exposed, that you knew private information about him. Is that correct?
Correct. No, incorrect. Absolutely incorrect. I called him Gus. His name is not Gus.
So, Coach Red Pill, is that true that your name is not Gus?
Yeah, because he misremembered it and thought my name was Gustavo. It's not Gustavo. But in another tweet, he used my actual first name. And in subsequent tweet, he
Guts, bro.
He referred to a former and incorrect, a former business associate in a way that was suggestive that he had embarrassing information and intended to use it to smear me.
JF accuses Jeff Holiday of having Coach's real name and information and trying to intimidate him with it on Twitter. Jeff denies this, but Jeff, not being very smart apparently, within a matter of, I'm not fucking joking, within like 15 seconds, changes his fucking story and says this.
Jeff, why did you use the word Gus? Does it mean something in English, Gus?
Gus? No, I just used Gus. And yeah, it was to infer, like, dude, I do know who you are, but fucking Jesus Christ, will you leave me alone?
Jesus Christ, Jeff, pull yourself together. At least be consistent in the bullshit you're telling people. Don't fucking flip-flop within 15 seconds of yourself. And the tweet they're referring to is archived, and that went out on November 4th. So on November 3rd, Trout has Coach Red Pill's information. Within 24 hours, Jeff Holiday is so fucking excited, he tweets it in a subtle, intimidating way at Coach Red Pill as a kind of, aha, I gotcha. Hey, Jeff, what's your personal opinion on people that use information about somebody they don't want out there in an effort to intimidate them? Do you have any deeply held beliefs on that?
What do you think of doxing? If you dox somebody, you're a cunt. Is revealing somebody's name the same thing as doxing? Subjectively, maybe. That depends. It depends on the context, depends on a few different things. But I will say, intentionally revealing somebody's name who didn't want it is an intimidation tactic. And if you do it, you're a cunt.
Oh, so I guess you're a fucking cunt, huh, Jeff? I guess you're a fucking cunt. Now, fast forward to November 19th, when Trout says, Jim's friends are going to take care of it. Oh, hashtag Jim knew. Hashtag Jim knew. What is he referring to? Well, he's talking about a thread up on a forum called Kiwi Farms, a thread that was started by Fedora Man, who happens to be King of Pole. King of Pole is friends with The Guardian, and that thread went up on November 18th. Now, this is why it gets really gay, because this is what I honest to God believe Trout was trying to do with Operation Chocolate Starfish. Trout wanted to use the docs he had on Coach Red Pill, but he didn't want to openly do it himself. So he needed an intermediary. He brings in The Guardian and says, I have this information. The Guardian takes that information and hands it off to a friend of his, an acquaintance, King of Pole. King of Pole then puts the information out publicly on Kiwi Farms. This ends up giving Trout some deniability. Because King of Pole isn't in the server, you can't connect him to it. The only way to do that is to know that King of Pole knows Guardian and Guardian knows Trout. So what happens if that scenario plays out? Well, this is where Zeph comes in. Zeph has a bad reputation for doing underhanded, dirty shit to people. And what better fall-down guy would exist for that particular scenario? So say somebody figured out that King of Pole got the information from Guardian, and Guardian got it from Trout. Well, Trout can put up an apology video just like he did that said, Zeph did it, not me. What he wasn't counting on was the fact that Zeph had screen caps and audio recorded of Trout that completely fucking tank his bullshit excuse. If you look back at those operations they were trying to run, every single one of them involved manipulating people. Each and every one of them was trying to fool others and get them to do their bidding. And this falls in line with what I believe Trout really wanted to do. He wanted to use The Guardian, he wanted to use King of Pole, he wanted to use Zeph and Liz and anybody else he could in his autistic war against the alt-right, because he was fucking angry. Angry and embarrassed, and he would do anything it took to get back at them. And that willingness to use any tactic to win extends far beyond just Coach Red Pill or even the flagging of the videos of Jean-Francois. It goes into the territory of lying in bed with your enemy, with those goddamn SJWs.
I see, Spiner, that you found the video.
Yes.
Why
I'm
would
not
you
watching
post
this
this online?
I'm just gonna. I mean, Spiner, please. I'm not sure if you could hand this over to your SJW friends. I'm not sure if that's a good idea.
No.
But if you do it,
they're not in favour of doxing.
No, it's not even the docs. But if you do it, don't tell them you have it from me, because I can't afford this shit. I found it by coincidence. I thought it was funny. I added it into this thread.
Let that sink in for a minute. Trout was going to have Spinosaurus get in touch with his SJW friends to use information Trout provided to target somebody. Even fucking Spinosaurus says, we don't dox, we don't do that. And yet Trout is trying to convince him to do it for him. You can hear the worry in his voice. He doesn't want the dirt coming back on him. It's another example of this attempted manipulation of other people to get them to do his dirty work and using them as a tool to that end. So our poor little cucky alien, did I forget to mention Zeph is a cuck?
How do you feel about the fact that Liz is living with her ex-husband?
Yeah,
and most likely, if reality is a thing, taken the dick from him. What's your opinion on that situation, Zeph?
Okay, I'll give you an honest answer. I'll give you Schmeckel an honest answer. One, I don't really care for Fred being there, honestly. But then again, we have an emotional connection, not a sexual one.
That emotional connection, it's long distance, we love each other in our souls. That's a bit embarrassing. And if you're wondering just what it is that Zeph and Liz have against Jean-Francois, remember, she was the one saying flag that video. Well, this clip might have something to do with it.
Zeph seems to be in a loving relationship with another YouTuber named Liz Reptile, who I've been knowing for years. And I will say that this Liz once offered me to go fuck her. Zeph is a cock. His girlfriend literally offered me to have my dick inside of her.
My God, Zev, how many people are fucking cucking you? Do you keep a tally board above your bed? Like holy shit, man. Maybe get a new girlfriend. Just a friendly tip. Nevertheless, it appears that Zeph was intended to be a fall guy. Not even Jeff Holiday, whose story has changed from time to time, was the one that originally found it, regardless of what he says. And you're able to come to this conclusion based on the conversation that Trout had with Sargon. Now, the following conversation is just fucking amazing for a whole host of reasons, which we'll get into after we listen to some choice clips. But I want to give you a feeling of the dynamic between these two, the relationship between Trout and Sargon, and how that comes into play later on.
Fuck this shit. I'm gonna turn up my sound boxes. You will be able to hear what Sargon's saying. And remind yourself, you can whisper into my ears, but just whisper into my ears.
What do you mean? You will be the only one that's on Sargon, you mean?
Yeah, and we'll be advising him.
Yeah, because Sargon insists that I'm the only one who talks to him.
But what? Okay, so what exactly is this? Is this live or is it recorded?
I think it's recorded.
All right, hold on.
Yeah, no useless conversations. Like I'm gonna have to audio. Where's the fucking audio? hey, I'm having a brief audio issue. I just quickly need to fix it. Shite.
So at the very mere mention that the Don himself is calling up Trout, he flips his shit. He needs to gather together all his YouTube scientists, all those academics, so they can whisper sweet little nothings in his ear. Because he's dealing with the big guy. And God knows Trout is scared shitless of that.
Are you echoing?
No, you seem fine.
Okay, good. Yeah, so what is this exactly about? Is this the Uzulu thing?
Oh, it's the whole thing, really, to be honest.
Well, if it's also about the JF thing, I can only repeat what the people I'm working with have told me.
No, it's not going to be about the science, obviously.
No, the reasons why I don't debate JF.
Well, is it alright if I record this? Because this is important, and I think it's just better to be honest.
That's a bit of a strange reaction, I'd say. You know, going into a conversation with somebody you know, you're friends with on Skype, and then saying, I need to be able to record this, but let's find out what's on Sargon's mind.
So let's talk about what's happening, because I find all of this honestly kind of perplexing, right? I don't know why you are engaging in the sort of culture war tactics the SJWs engage in against the alt-right. And I've said to you repeatedly, privately, that you shouldn't do this. This is a waste of time and it's not a good thing to do. And you are doing it anyway, so I'm curious to know why you're doing it. I really don't see the advantage.
I have to ask, what exactly do you mean with cultural war tactics?
Well, digging up people's pasts, trying to sort of smear them to make them look bad, things like that.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Come on.
No, I honestly have no idea what you're
talking
about.
Come on, man, come on.
No, you have to give me a specific example.
Okay, like finding Coach Red Pill's past. Like this sort of thing. Like digging up who are the other people? There are other people that you've
what the fuck?
You've been digging stuff up on and stuff, and it's like I don't see the point in any of that.
Once again, we have Trout just outright fucking lying. I mean, it's a common theme that we've seen throughout every one of these videos recounting everything that he's done. It's manipulation and deception interwoven with one another. And here he is in a conversation with Sargon, somebody you're going to find out that he shared information with, denying that he had any information. These people are not very intelligent.
Sorry about that. Right. So
You kind of ambushed me here with that, didn't you?
no, I don't think so. I think this is what you've been doing.
Well, I can explain to you exactly what I've been doing. I've been in a server on Discord with mainly a group of chemistry students and biologists going through papers. That's the main thing I have been doing for weeks now.
Okay, and that's
Weeks.
fine.
Yeah.
But like saying things like you've said that you've had Ryan information or something.
Oh, that's something completely. Have information. Do you know who is? Like there's something important. Yeah, exactly. I don't care either. I specifically address him as alternative hypothesis in my videos because that is what his fucking name is on YouTube. I don't bring up the things that he did in the past in my videos.
So not only does it extend beyond Coach Red Pill, but now they're talking about alternative hypothesis having information on him as well. And Sargon seems to be aware of this. He seems to know that Trout is gathering together this information, that he's going to use it. As Sargon repeatedly will say, it's morally wrong to do this.
Okay, but I think you're downplaying this, right? Because I think you've gone into culture war mode, and I just want to say that there's from a moral position, I don't see this as being a moral good. I see this as being a moral evil. The alt-right are a weak fringe group. It doesn't matter if they appear to be bad people, so it's a pointless exercise.
I don't see it as a pointless exercise. We agreed on this in the past.
But it is a pointless exercise. And the thing is, I also don't see it as a moral good.
It's not morally good. So Trout and Sargon have this conversation. Trout shares the audio with everybody in his Discord server so they can give him tips on how to win Sargon over. Sargon is apparently recording it for his own protection in regards to what they're discussing. But a few facts come out. Trout has this information. Sargon is aware that Trout has this information. And Sargon feels that it is morally wrong what he's doing. So what was the reaction? What was the fallout once the call ended? How did Trout and his Discord buddies react to Sargon's statements and his viewpoint on what they were doing?
Fuck me.
I think it sounds like, if I may, it sounds like Sargon might be losing a...
Yeah, I can just say fuck Sargon from now on because I just don't fucking trust the guy.
Fucking Christ.
No, he's just losing faith in this thing. And here's the thing: when it comes to JF is he is using fallacies expertly.
No. Here's the thing.
He's gaslighting the skeptic community.
Coach Red Pill stuff. I shared it with Sargon in a common interest, saying, "I won't publish this. I think you should know about this." And I showed it to him.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's ambushing me with it to make some kind of point on YouTube. Jesus Christ, he's burying me.
Yeah, fuck Sargon. I don't trust that guy. He's gonna bury us in a grave with a horse head with Trout written on the gravestone. You don't fuck with the stepfather and live.
Real quick, guys, because I'm really hungover and I can't keep this up because I gotta lay back down. But obviously, if you need me to help talk to Sargon and Trout, let me know. But the thing you have to remember about Sargon when this comes up, and this is the most important thing you have to remember, is that Sargon is a political activist. Sargon is not a scientist. He doesn't even understand how these conversations are even supposed to go. He's being naive, and he's being gullible.
So he's a retarded, naive, gullible idiot, apparently. Oh, and fuck him, because you can't trust him. Untrustworthy, gullible, fucking retarded idiot who's naive.
Jeff, oh my god, the fact that I gathered this data on Coach Red Pill is gonna bite me in the fucking ass because he knows I gathered it. Where the fuck is Jeff Holiday now?
And that would be one of the sound clips that exonerates Zeph. He knows that I gathered it. He didn't say, Jeff Holiday, you gathered it. He didn't say, Zeph, you gathered it. Trout is admitting he's the one that found the information, and he shared it with fucking everybody. He shared it with people in that Discord. He shared it with Sargon of Akkad.
Trout, you need to let him know that any information that you gathered on Coach Red Pill was a background check on his credentials and who he is as a person. That is all. It wasn't meant for tactics to be used against him in a SJW way. It was to verify his credibility as somebody who speaks in that field of expertise.
Jeff. The data I gathered on Coach Red Pill is now being used against me, essentially. They think.
What do you mean?
That's the thing. Like, the first thing he brought up, why are you gathering private information, like, for example, on Coach Red Pill?
It's not private information.
And here's the thing, he claims I've been doing the same with Ryan Falk, etc., that I'm gathering private data. And
what's private about Ryan Falk? I can Google
Ryan Falk is a public figure.
I have to tell you something, Jeff. I shared the things that I got on Coach Red Pill with Sargon of Akkad.
Yeah, so?
And he's now accusing me of doing SJW tactics.
That's not SJW tactics. That's vetting somebody who's talking as a public figure.
Exactly.
That's something every news organization does. That's something every fucking YouTuber does. That's absolutely fucking preposterous. The only reason why anybody gives a shit about any of this is because they're positioning themselves as being persecuted. That is a fucking SJW tactic. Oh, I'm a persecution. Oh, I'm a persecution. This is why it's wrong. No, what's wrong is defrauding a fucking economist. What's wrong is being a large piece of shit that has to hide from social media for 3 years.
So, once again, Sargon of Akkad is just a fucking moron that doesn't understand how the internet works. This wasn't doxing and smearing, they were doing a background check. But naive, gullible, dumb fuck Sargon just doesn't really understand that. But do you know what the most fucking remarkable thing about all of this is? Is that even though Sargon was in that call with Trout telling him it's morally wrong to use information to smear somebody, that she should attack their argument, that he didn't want any part of this, Trout still somehow succeeded, because Sargon of Akkad released a video about Coach Red Pill, in which he shares the information that Trout gathered.
So this was posted to Kiwi Farms. Now, it says King of Pole posted it, and we verified it. And if it is King of Pole, the one I know, hey man, how's it going? How you doing? Long time no speak. I don't know whether it is. I don't know who it was that actually posted this. It could just be someone with a similar name or something like that. I don't know. But this is just all public information. I mean, as you can see, it's YouTube videos. It's him archives. It's nothing that's not already public. It's just been brought together on this post.
And if you look in the video description, you'll see the Kiwi Farms link. The Kiwi Farms link that was put up by a proxy of Trout. So I guess in a way, and this is the weirdest fucking thing about it, Trout succeeded. Do you remember Operation Mincemeat? It was a plan that Trout and the people in his Discord had cooked up. Do you see the two names listed there? Thunderfoot and Sargon of Akkad. The entirety of this plan was to trick the alt-right into thinking Sargon or Thunderfoot were going to make videos. This would get a reaction out of the alt-right. That reaction would then spur Sargon and Thunderfoot into actually making those videos. They use a lie to get a reaction to make it become true. Now let's fast forward to the fallout of Trout's Discord server and all that information getting leaked. Coach Red Pill puts up a video accusing Sargon of Akkad of knowing what was going on. And in response, Sargon of Akkad makes a video. Trout effectively used Sargon of Akkad in Operation Mincemeat. I don't know, really makes you think, gets the noggin jogging. One thing I've repeatedly heard throughout this entire autistic saga is that digging up information on other people and then using it isn't doxing. That a majority of the people in that Discord, in the skeptic crowd, Trout and T and others, have all said that's not underhanded. It's a background check. They're just doing research on an opponent. And sharing that information or putting it onto a forum or even putting it into a video is completely A-okay. Well, I'm glad that Trout feels that way. I'm glad Trout is fine with me sharing publicly available information, because that's what I plan to do right now. As I'm sure you can imagine, once all this information came out and people really started paying attention to it, different areas of the internet decided to start digging into Trout and T. They began to put together infographics, trying to find other accounts that he may have. Boy oh boy, did they fucking strike gold. Through a little bit of internet detective work and lining up personal pictures that he had posted on different forum accounts, as well as him using the same username that he used on Steam a long time ago, they were able to track down the account The Germans Are Coming. And apparently they must be coming pretty fucking hard. That I don't believe. Even I own a dildo, vibrating nipple clamps, leather straps, chains, cuffs, corsages, and various other things. Vibrating nipple clamps. Never really had you pegged for that, Kraut. You always seem like a sophisticated, high IQ guy. I can't really picture you chained up to a bed with electricity going through your tits. From the thread, wife wants me to have an open relationship. Meh, when in a relationship, I never bothered if she slept with other men. Oh boy, welcome to Cocktails, everybody. Oh my god, my favorite new game on the market's Cuckhead, starring Zeph and Kraut and T. It's the hottest shit out right now. Hey, remember that story Kraut told everybody about how he split his dick in half with an axe? You know, a totally believable story about a man somehow missing a piece of wood and opening his cock straight down the middle.
I used to work in a lumber mill when I was 17 years old, and my job was, there was this machine where they would put the big trees into it, and it would scrape the bark off the trees. And of course, not all the bark would go off. And my job was, after the tree went through the machine, I had to take an axe and chip the remaining bark off the tree. And what happened was I slipped and yanked the axe into my crotch. And
what?
And sliced my cock open. Well, my nickname during the remaining years in school was what was it? Chieftain Split Cock.
Apparently, that was a lie. The story's a little less interesting than giving yourself a bris with a chainsaw. In the thread, the most amount of pain you've ever felt. A kick between the legs I got at the age of 17. It ripped my cock open, which had to be stitched together again. Funny thing was that I was so utterly fucking drunk and on pills that I didn't even notice the injury or even the pain until the blood started dripping out of my pants. For some reason, our boy here really likes to get kicked in the dick. I mean, it's a common fucking thing that keeps reoccurring throughout his life. I'm not sure if it's a prelude to something, but let's read another post. From the thread, when the need for closure is great. You certainly have more guts than I have. I was viciously abused as a child by various people in my surroundings. At the age of 12 to 13, I was almost castrated by a group of classmates who tied me to a chair and kept repeatedly beating me in between the legs with their feet and objects. At the age of 14, I was almost murdered by the same people during gym class. Wow, I wonder if all the abuse to his genitals had any effect on his sexual preferences. Oh, what do you know it did? BDSM. You know, good old Kraut, tied up to a chair with nipple clamps on, getting kicked in the dick repeatedly by various strangers. All while his girlfriend's fucking some other dude on the bed next to him. Well, hey Jim, you can't judge him too harshly. He is a paragon of progressive value. Did you see his Discord server? It was all-inclusive, allowing anybody with a different opinion to come in and say what they wanted. I am sick and tired of these disgusting sand monkey animal savages. It is time to pack them into trains and ship them back to their filthy deserts. Through being a slippery, slimy, self-centered fuck, I managed to squeeze a shitload of money out of my thick country pumpkin relatives this Christmas. More than I would ever need to cover my living costs. So I decided to donate 50 euros to Doctors Without Borders, buy some retro games on Steam sale, and buy $200 euros in pay safe cards, upload it to my account, and buy some Amazon gift cards for myself to stock up on some essential living things, like new sex toys, and the last remaining Judas Priest album that I don't own as an LP. Gotta take advantage of those stupid fucking relatives so you can buy yourself some new dildos. Totally understandable. It's the Christmas sort of thing. Well, the saga of Kraut and T is finally coming to an end. I've taken you through the history of it, what began his crusade against the alt-right, against the right-leaning neo-Nazi, race-realist, ethno-state-loving motherfuckers. I've talked about the people he gathered by his side and the things they got up to, about him targeting different individuals for flagging their videos or doxing them or spreading their information, about him manipulating and deceiving everyone around him in an attempt to use them as a tool to further his own goal. It is a remarkable implosion to have watched in real time. It was exciting to watch the information continually leak out as the story shifted from one day to the next. With the loss of his YouTube channel, his dignity, and his income, at least he accomplished his goal. Sure, he may be doing road work for the rest of his life, no longer getting a cushy paycheck from talking about Islam or feminism on YouTube once a week, But at the end of the day, I don't think that's what really embarrasses him. I don't think it's seeing everybody turn on him. I don't think it's having his past dug up. I don't think it's the destruction of everything that he held sacred and dear. I think what really sticks up his ass, the thing that probably bothers him the most, is that because of him, not in spite of him, but because of him, the one thing he didn't want to happen did happen. The most watched live stream at the time on YouTube
was a conversation by Richard Spencer with other individuals about a white ethnostate and race realism, with upwards of 12 to 14,000 people watching. I want you to imagine if you waged a war against somebody, and because you decided to wage a war, they ended up winning. That if you had not even engaged in the first place, this never would have happened. But Trout let his ego get to him. He let his vengeance get to him. He let his anger get to him. And he ended up becoming not a detriment, but an asset to the enemy he saw across from himself. And that has got to stick up his ass something fucking fierce, which he probably enjoys as he's tied up getting electricity run through his tits.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, the stream is live, just so you know. I don't want to catch you off guard. I want to be fair about this.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. All right, let me just say hi to the audience, and then we'll get right into it. Everybody watching, this is the stream that we both agreed to do, Trout and I. A 1v1, as it were, to talk about everything, I guess, from the end of 2017 up until recently. Now, I know you've gone around trying to clear your name or give your side of the story. You disagree with the narrative you say is out there. So I'm willing to give you a fair shake and hear you out on this. So where would you like to begin? Where do you think we should begin?
Oh, it's your stream. Please, you.
Okay. Well, I guess we can just start it at the very beginning. I mean, I'll start it with Rage After Storm. I think is kind of the impetus of everything. Now, what is your take on your involvement with Rage After Storm? I know you put out tweets, and I know you put out a video saying that you felt... oh, go ahead.
I made a stupid tweet. That's what I made.
Okay.
At the blog Kipper Central. I deleted the tweet within 20 minutes of making it, and even made a tweet that I shouldn't have done that. Then a week later, she's driven off the internet. And another week after that, my tweet is brought up again. So that's how I see it. That's why I refuse to apologize a second time, more or less.
Right, right. Do you still feel she's a Nazi bitch queen, as you put it?
I wouldn't put it like that anymore.
Okay, because I went over the videos that I did to try to reestablish the timeline, and I went over some of the stuff that was out there. I know she put out her Race is Real video on the 24th of June. You had gone on a stream with Andy Worski and Jeff Holiday and a few other people on the 28th of June. The very next night after that stream, you tweeted out to Kipper Central.
Yes.
Now, Jeff Holiday has made multiple statements after, I'd say within the span of a couple months of her basically being deplatformed, however you want to express it. And I want to give an exact quote here. Make no mistake, we bullied the shit out of Rage after Storm. We bullied her off social media. We bullied the fuck out of her. And then he followed that up with another statement. Fuck that dumb bitch. We bullied her. Talking about
Well, he doesn't speak for me.
Yeah.
Does he now? These are his words, are they?
Right, but when
he
you... Yeah, but I think what people find strange, right, is when the Rage thing happened, it was you and Holiday on the same stream. He took
Andy
part...
Borski and that girl with an opinion and some black guy.
Yep. No, it was you two together on the stream, and yet out of all those people, I mean, you bring up Andy Worski, some black guy, that girl with an opinion. I'm not sure about that girl. I think she might have been in the Discord server. But when the Discord server was established, I mean, both you and Holiday ended up in there together.
So you think that ties it all to the Discord server?
Well, I think it shows some cooperation, or at least a similar mindset when you were dealing with Rage.
I guess there was a similar mindset months before that Rage thing, because there were conversations with people, and if you don't mind, I wouldn't like to mention some of them, because they probably don't want to get dragged into this again.
Yeah, that's fine. Say whatever you want, man. It's up to you.
Yeah, there were conversations about making videos on the alt-right months before this, like starting almost in April 2017, I think.
Yeah.
That's probably when it started. There was a server before the initial server. JF was actually in that one.
Now, was that...
And it just went nowhere.
Was that one run by Habib as well, or is that run by somebody different?
No, that was run by me. That was run by me.
So the previous server to this one?
By me. Yeah, no, the previous server to what we called the Task Force server was also run by me, but it went nowhere, so I shut it down, frustrated, and didn't do anything with it for a month, and then made a new one and tried it again. But the thing is that I wanted to get back to, it wasn't even me or Jeff who bullied Rage After Storm off the internet.
Okay, who do you believe bullied her off the internet?
Linkin Park fans.
Linkin Park fans. Why would Jeff Holiday take credit for getting her off the internet then if he had no hand in it?
I don't know why he would do that.
Is Jeff Holiday a known liar?
Maybe he's getting things confused. I don't know, but the tweets that drove her off the internet are still out there. Do I send them to you via Skype or via Twitter? What would you prefer?
Send them via Twitter, and I will, like I said, if you got something you want me to show, send it to me and I'll put it up.
Well, you don't necessarily have to show it. Everyone can look this up themselves. It's just a few screen caps I took. You can see them dated to the 22nd of July, when the lead singer of Linkin Park committed suicide. She made several tweets about how he deserved to die because he was a Jewish degenerate, blah, 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 all sorts of stuff like that. And she got a massive shitstorm hammered down on her. And the tweets of this shitstorm are still up there for everyone to see. There's even a Reddit thread where people organized to drive her off the internet when that happened.
Now, this tweet you're showing me is from July 21st, 2017 from Rage, saying he was a selfish asshole for killing himself. He had 6 kids.
Yes.
And you're
There's
saying...
several other tweets she made.
Yeah.
Several other tweets she made as well. I found one more. Wait a moment. I just have to give you this other screen cap first. There are several tweets she made, and the reaction she got was pretty nasty, and she left. And the thing is, when she left, she also made a statement that she didn't leave because of that. She made a statement that she was restructuring what she was doing on YouTube.
Yeah, well, here's what I find awkward about this, and I'm going to go back to the timeline when we're talking about this. So her video hits on the 24th. 4 days later, you guys get together and you do your stream. A day later, you're contacting Kipper Central. You know, one of the weird things about this entire thing is after you had contacted Kipper Central, the very next day, Soledad O'Brien starts tweeting about Rage After Storm and about Kipper Central. Soledad O'Brien, the reporter. Now,
he's a journalist. Okay.
Yeah, she's a journalist. Now, the weird thing is, Kipper Central has barely any followers. I mean, at the time they were like 400 or 500. It just seems very bizarre, the timing of that, especially when you consider what seems to be an association between yourself, your Discord, and just journalists in general when it comes to alt-right figures.
I have no idea who that journalist is, and I have not talked to that journalist in regards to Rage After Storm whatsoever.
So you
the only other thing I did was when that shit was brought up again, when that stuff was brought up again. Okay, I was first really fucking angry that it was brought up again because I already made a tweet, but I also conceded that if it was true that I had gotten her fired, that I would have no other choice to apologize. I conceded that I was getting ready to make an apology video, but I wanted to make sure that if that would actually be the case. So I emailed the owner of the blog and asked him if I got her fired, and he emailed me back that I didn't. I can send you these emails as well if you want.
Yeah, no, I am familiar with those because I did read them when you put them up initially, and I think this is going to be one of the themes when we go forward talking about these different things is action versus intent.
Yes.
The intent that you had behind contacting Kipper Central obviously wasn't. I mean,
Wasn't noble, no.
No, it wasn't noble. I mean, it was malicious.
Yeah, yeah, it was malicious. It was spurgy, stupid, and I freely admit that.
Okay, so we've got you doing something that's malicious. We've got Jeff Holiday after the fact, repeatedly in video form and in written form.
I can't speak for Jeff Holiday. I want to make that clear. Like, there is this idea out there that I somehow represent this entire group of YouTubers. I don't speak for them. I don't represent them. I don't tell them what they do. Neither do they tell me.
Well,
what.
yeah, but to be fair, though, I mean, you did just earlier when we were talking about the server and the one previous say that these are your servers.
Yes.
These are people you're working with on this project regarding the alt-right.
The working with thing is a bit doubtful, to be honest. Like, the biggest problem that that's from my perspective, admittedly, not from an outsider's perspective. The biggest problem I had is I had a shit ton of people join these servers telling, oh yeah, this is a great idea, I'm going to work on this and that, and then they just lazily sat around and didn't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
That's, yeah, work, like, I wanted these people to do their own things. I wanted them, where the academics response meme comes from, to ask the various biologists and psychologists that I gathered together to help them out with research for videos, and then do those videos.
Okay. Well,
I don't know why are you bringing up Jeff? Because Jeff has kind of completely moved on this. He's making his videos on pseudoscience.
I can tell you why I'm bringing up Jeff on this, because again, I want to establish both a timeline and involvement of yourself and the people associated with you in regards to this project. And I think to do that, I think to do that, I'm going to reference something else that was publicly stated in regards to yourself and the people you were associating with. This is up publicly on Wizard of Cause's timeline. I DM'd you the tweets. I'm going to put them up on screen so people can take a look at them here. So they know that I'm not fucking about, so they can see that these are what I say they are. And this is a conversation between Sandre Speaks and Wizard of Cause in regards to everything that was kind of going on. This is back in August of 2018. So let me just pull this up, and I'll read through them, and then I want to get your reaction to what they're saying in regards to just everything, okay? This starts with Sandre, moves on to Wizard, and David Trout was a part of this conversation, but obviously he changed his handle, so those aren't showing up anymore. Sandre is talking Kraut's channel.
I can wait before you start. I can still see them. David's tweets. So if you want to read David's tweets as well, I can share my screen if you want, and you could see them as well.
Okay. Well, when we get to it. So from Sandre, it starts at the very top, 29th of August. Kraut's channel has been flagged down. Wizard responds, that sucks. Good thing he doesn't have any kids to support, or it would really suck on a professional level. Fuck, wait, I forgot. I'm supposed to feel sympathy for channels that eat shit due to dog shit mobbing by imbeciles. My bad. Sandre responds by saying, you may feel whatever. I don't care about crusades either, but I'm not suggesting anyone defend Kraut, but a principle. Also, nobody is forcing you. You can just ignore this, and that is how you feel you should. Wizard responds, let's glance back on where principle got me, shall we? Where the outrage when I was being lambasted. This is a flagging and outrage war raged by shitbags and shitbag audiences who somehow came to rise to the top of the cup. This is a market dominated by selective outrage. This bullshit war, waged by someone who was told there were better ways, cost me the ability to provide for my family. Most of that is on the dog shit outrage bloodsport scene. But when that's raised otherwise and met with, I won't be treated this way, shit, fuck it all. Sandre responds, and I know this is a bit long, but we'll get to it. Sandre responds, everyone was lambasted. Again, I understand you. I'm just pointing this out. I'm not acting like a guardian and is defending Trout as a person. Just the fact that he's not deserving of false accusations of flagging. You have the option to ignore all of this, and I think you should. Wizard responds, did I have anything to do with this fuckery? No. I wasn't deserving of false accusations, but no one came to my aid, did they? And tonight, as I tried to give him honest advice, he found himself above reproach for what he cost me. He's too good. Fuck him. Zonda responds, did anyone come to any of our aid? No, my name was dragged in the mud too. Just like anyone who just happened to be in that server. Again, not defending him as a person, but a principle. Want to ignore it? Fine. Nobody is blaming you. Wizard, did you feed yourself or your kid off of what you built that was torn down? Don't try to equate the two. That was what I had to move forward from. A nightmare. It worked well. This is a fucking crusade that happened. He was flagged. He'll be back and fine. Everyone is fine. I died and had to rely on charity. I'd have liked to thank my people, or I'd like to, I'm guessing, thank my people in a better fashion, but thankfully they saved me. But oh, he started a war, dragging others into it, and acted like a cunt when offered advice. Ask him. And I should feel bad for him. Fuck him, up and down. Sandra responds, I never said you should feel bad for him. It's just about a principle. However, again, sit that one out, and you should. Wizard, principle. The whole thing started because that fuck's ego was so big, he thought it was cool to start a YouTube jihad over a personal gripe with someone he built up and then dragged a bunch of others down with him. Never showed him an ounce of remorse for what he cost anyone. Sandre, again, I understand and even agree, Trout is a spurg. I've lost my patience with him too, although he's a friend. But it's not even about him, but a principle. For the last time, ignore if you wish, nobody is blaming you. And finally, Wizard, more than a spurg. He's a soapalistic fuck. Neither he nor anyone gave a fuck when his crusade and the scumfucks who made their bones about it destroyed my livelihood. Principle, he created this environment, reap what you fucking sow. And then finally from the other, I sent you 2 links. From the other one, it's much shorter. Wizard is responding to Discord spies, Sharat, saying, you're one to talk. It's funny how both of you fucked yourselves by tongue clicking when good advice was offered. Difference is with him, he took others down with him, and in place of an apology for what happened to me, he instead lamented losing his own shit. Shall we revisit when you were frantic about your lady friend? The place this all began. The help you begged me for. The way I told you directly not to bring that reckless imbecile in, and how he fucked that all up. I had nothing to do with his crusade, and all my shit died for it. Now,
Sherrod responds with, that stuff is in the past. That was a fuck-up, but it was a lost cause before it even started. It's ended, and I'm better off for it. 2, you joined the server. You wanted to burn alt-righters as much as anyone else. And I remember you talking about how you should, quote, use Trout as a weapon. Then Wizard responds again.
Yep. So what I've noticed when these people are talking about this, when you see a charade,
I can give you the exact context of that conversation.
Well, I read the content. Let me just ask my question first. So when I'm reading these conversations between people on the outside, when it's Charade talking, when it's Sandre talking, when it's Wizard of Cause talking, a few themes keep coming up. One is their disdain for you. You're referred to multiple times as basically a fucking moron. And also talking about your war, the autistic jihad, the crusade against the alt-right, and talking about how this was something that was pushed heavily from the beginning. I know, initially the list of people in the alt-right was called a targets list, and it was changed to persons of interest. And you said, well, we're just researching videos. But when you pair what what Wizard of Cause, what Nick is saying, with the conversations that are going on the outside, right? And you look at statements that Jeff Holiday has made, another person that was in the server, talking about how you bully, he bullied, he's taking credit, he said, bullied Rage off of the internet. We taught her a lesson, basically. We shoved her off. When you take this all together, it makes it seem like this wasn't just an effort to counter what you saw as alt-right propaganda on YouTube, but to do damage and remove people that you had, as they put it, a crusade, a jihad, or a war against.
Well, the context of that conversation is that it's the first time I talked to Nick since about... That was in August 2018, the last time I talked to Nick. Before that was in the beginning of January. And the thing with Nick is he was in my server and he legit almost did nothing. Like, he wasn't even interested. He was in there. I kept asking him why he was even in there, because he didn't do anything there. He just wanted to make videos on other issues, and he said, well, maybe in a year or two I'll come back and work on something in that direction with you. But he was legit just not interested. But he still got the same amount of shit as anyone else. And he didn't deserve any of it, even if the things that we were accused of were true, because he was not involved. He had zero involvement. And yes, Nick takes it personally, and he blames it to a large extent on me. And this is something that I will have to personally at some point smooth out with Nick, talk to Nick, be honest with Nick about, because he got fucked for nothing. He didn't do anything. He had literal zero involvement. And you believe conversations like these in combinations to leaked images such as what is commonly referred to as the hit list make it look like I was trying to target people in general?
Well, yeah, I mean, again, and we're still building our way up to things, but I'm trying to at least keep it on a coherent timeline. But when you look at Jeff Holliday's statement, after, I mean, here you are, here Jeff is, both of you are in this server, both of you have issues with the alt-right, he's talking about how he got rage bullied off the internet. Now here's Wizard having a conversation with Sharat, both of who, again, were in your server, talking about a war, a crusade. Sandre, again, another person was in the server, a jihad. It makes it sound like it's a hell of a lot more than just simply countering alt-right propaganda on the internet. And it makes it seem like there was, more, it was vindictive, malicious that Rage was after.
It makes it look really bad.
Well, I mean, Waz Lee was the one that said that himself. He said we need to change the target's name to something else because it's going to look horrible when people find it.
Do you know what the targets list was? I mean, the accusation was that I was gathering doxes in it.
Well, we will get into that with the stuff about Coach Red Pill, and also there's speculation too about what was Aiden Paladins.
I'm not talking about Coach Red Pill. I'm talking about the list. Do you know what that was? Did anyone ever tell you what it was? Did you make any statements about it? Because I've seen a lot of people claim that it contained docs or other stuff, but...
Well, no, in my video series, I was very clear. I focused more on the gay ops, which we'll be getting to, and I focused in the last part on CRP.
I'm going to send you something quickly.
Yep.
Here you go. This is the hit list, as you like to call it. This is what it is. The so-called hit list.
Okay. All right. Hold on. Let me pause this. I'll play it on stream here. 1 second.
Okay.
It's only 1 minute and 40 seconds, so it's not too long. Here we go. All right. You're probably not going to be able to hear me playing it, but I'll just tell you when I started.
That's fine.
All right. So it's 1 minute 42 seconds. It's a video crowd linked. I'll start it in 3, 2, 1.
The so-called hit list is an archiving bot that we wrote a script for. What it does is the bot targets the accounts of certain people on Twitter, people who we added into the bot script. What it does is whenever one of these people tweets, it grabs the tweet. It shows us with that speech bubble, for example, if a tweet is a response, with that arrow if it is just a tweet, and it grabs the tweet, it posts in that thread on Discord any images that may have been tweeted out with that tweet, the contents of the tweet in terms of its text, like here and here, and then it creates an archive link and posts the archive link together.
I'm pausing it at 52 seconds. Let me ask you 2 questions. One, the server we're talking about is the initial server. This looks like a different server.
That's the same thing. We moved it.
Yeah, I mean,
from one server to a different one.
Yeah, but you can claim that now because there's nothing left. It's been deleted. It's been wiped.
If you say so, yeah, okay, you can make that claim if you want. I'm telling you what we did was we set up a bot to archive people's tweets and to give us data on the social media behavior on people, how things spread, when people delete what gets retweeted. It has several purposes.
Okay.
The intention is for me to make a video on that.
Why wouldn't you?
That's basically what it was.
Why wouldn't you have made a video like this showing your alt-right persons of interest servers then? If it would clear it up that much, why didn't you do it initially when the leaks happened?
That would have ruined the program, wouldn't it?
What do you mean the program?
It would have ruined the purpose of the bot.
Well, didn't you just do that now by explaining it to everybody?
Well, the bot has been observing everyone's Twitters for a year now.
Okay, and
it's fulfilled its purpose.
What was the purpose then of observing their Twitters?
The purpose was to figure out how propaganda and how certain messages, etc., spread through the internet. How messages are spread across. How people behave on social media. If there are specific media tactics or propaganda tactics. Also, initially, I have to admit, the intention was to prevent people from deleting tweets, because we saw a couple of people making some nasty tweets and then deleting them before we could screen cap them. But then, when we worked on it further, we figured this could be ideally used to observe social media behavior and make a video about that with that data.
Okay, but you have no records of the initial server. This is, again, the newer server.
I don't have it anymore.
Okay, so this is a completely different thing then than what we're talking about.
I moved the thing that we were doing in that list over to that server. It is still the same thing that we did. That is what we did.
Well, that's your claim that it's the same thing. Yes.
Yes, it's my claim. If you don't believe it, so be it.
Okay. All right. Let me pull up. Where were we here? All right. So we had the Rage After Storm incident. With the timing, we had Jeff's statements after that. We had the Wizard of Cause conversation with Sandre. All of these were people that were in the server that make it seem like it was more than simply countering alt-right propaganda. Again, using phrases like war, jihad, and crusade. Let's move into the Discord ops. And let's talk about when that started. Now, that was, I believe, or at least it started coming into prominence with the videos, so late August. Would you say that's fair?
It started... Depends which one. We did two. Well, I did one. The other one was done by Sabi. Mine started in late August, yeah. Ended in November.
Wait, I'm confused.
And his started in October.
You said that all the servers were run by you, this one and the one before it, but now you're saying Sabi had their own?
No, Sabi ran one of them, the macro thing. The idea of creating a fake server, that was his idea.
Yeah, and we'll get to that. We'll get to Red Mackerel in a moment here. One of the interesting things I noticed is there was a focus on CRP, and I mean, we'll get to the main bulk of CRP stuff later, but I did notice this going back. It seems to me like the, I guess, main activity within the Discord and the video series and all of that started really gearing up in late August. And when I went back and looked at Coach Red Pill's videos on you specifically, and I timed that with when the Rage After Storm stuff got brought up again. His videos hit on July 26th, July 27th, and his third follow-up was near the end of August. Now, it would seem like, is Coach Red Pill the one that pissed you off enough to go through all of this?
No. I didn't even know really who Coach Red Pill was until a few weeks after he made those videos. Like, the server existed way before Coach Red Pill came onto my radar. The idea of the server even existed for quite a long time.
How long was the idea of the server planned for?
Like I told you, since April 2017. That's when the first time a few people got together and talked about making videos on the alt-right, how we would organize that, etc., etc. And then I decided to make a server. The first one, which got deleted because nothing got done. There was a 1-month break, and then I made the other server. The one where the entire drama is around.
Okay, and the initial server, was it structured like the second server, the one that everybody's most familiar with? I mean, were there people of interest in the alt-right that you were looking at? What was going on in the first server?
The first server was a complete chaos because it only had one text chat. I gave everyone who joined admin rights. Everyone kept making new threads. It just ended up a complete chaos, so I deleted it.
Okay. So, and this was, I think, the focus of my third video was really the Discord itself. Or the second video, the third video was Kilroy, I believe. When we get into, like, gay ops, when people are talking about that, and a lot of this comes from, you mentioned Zabby. Zabby is one of them. When you look at something like Red Mackerel and Mincemeat. And again, I think this kind of goes back to when people are looking at Jeff Holliday's behavior and your behavior and the events that surrounded Rage
I am not responsible for Jeff Holliday's behavior. Like, he can say jihad, war, and whatever he wants, but it's not representative of my behavior, what he does.
Well, you two are working in concert within this Discord. I mean, to say that you're not associated with his actions is foolish.
I barely talk to him anymore at all. At this
Yeah,
point.
but we're talking about, at the time, you were talking to him, and we've heard the Skype conversations. Zeph leaked those on SoundCloud.
But he had, like, the Rage After Storm thing, the live stream that he went on, had nothing to do with that server.
The second
That's
server,
just
but
something
you said the first server was up and running in April.
Yeah, the first server was already gone by the time the Rage After Storm thing happened.
Was Jeff
It
Holiday
already
involved
deleted.
in the first server?
I don't think he was even in it. It was me, Sandra, 3 other people. I have to be honest, I don't even exactly know who was in it. It was just a couple of people, smaller YouTubers, people ranging in the 10k, 20k subscriber range.
Okay. All right. Well, and again, going along with this, when we're talking about gay ops, you've got Zabby who's talking about red mackerel, which is feeding false information to try to make, I guess, your opponents, your opposition look foolish. Or at least that's how it felt outlined to me.
That was mine. That was mine. That was mine.
Okay, well, Zabby's the one that people saw posted. I mean, that could be yours. That's fine. I know you talked about Tilly Law backpacking across
Yeah, that
Europe.
was mine. Exactly. That was mine.
The gayest of gay ops. Okay. And Zabby also spoke of Mincemeat, which was the idea of suckering in a larger YouTube to attack the alt-right.
No. Mincemeat was the gay op. The one with Tilly Law and the feeding of false information. Zabby's was macro. Zabby's was making a fake server in case leaks happen with faked conversations, faked research, faked accounts, faked everything. So if any leaks were to happen, because he thought there would be leaks at some point, the leaks would be nonsensical.
Okay, well, I mean, I can bring up the video.
Decided to kick
because there's a screenshot of Zabby talking about mincemeat and showing the diagram.
I know there is a screen cap of Zabby talking about mincemeat. That is simply a typo. He was talking about red mackerel. Mincemeat is completely on me. It has nothing to do with Zabby.
Okay, well, I want to show this so people understand what I'm talking about. This is up on screen. This was the Operation Mincemeat setup, execution. It basically says people who are feeding us info about Edgy are unknown to us and are constantly changing names. They don't buy it, they buy it. And basically it works through a premise of total panic about Thunderfoot, DeFranco, Sargon, and infighting accusations between the alt-right party. Sargon and Thunderfoot begin to make videos.
And who's writing that?
This was posted by Zabby. This was Operation Mincemeat. It talks about the setup.
I have no idea what that is. Like, that just sounds... Okay. Well, I'm pretty sure he will have an explanation for that. But...
Well, you understand how
I
weird
don't know
this
what that
looks
is.
when we get...
I understand that it looks really weird. I'm confused by this as you are describing it to me.
Okay, because this was in the initial video, and it lines up with what ended up happening. Coach Red Pill's information is on your server. That ends up in the hands of the Guardian, who passes it off.
Coach Red Pill's information was never on that server.
Is on your server. It ends up in the hands of the Guardian. The Guardian hands it to King of Pole. It goes on to Kiwi Farms. And then who uses the information that's now publicly available on Kiwi Farms to make a video about Coach Red Pill? Sargon does. And that lines up pretty damn well with Operation Mincemeat, doesn't it?
But that's not how it happened.
That's exactly how it happened. I have the timeline of the exact events of how it happened.
That's how you interpret it happening, but that's not how the Coach Red Pill's information was never on that Discord server.
On November 3rd, you said excitedly to Zeph in your Discord, I have CRP's real name. On November
That's in a DM.
On November 4th, Jeff Holiday tweets out to CRP, "We'll see how harmless I am soon, Gus." Following that, on a live stream with Worski, when asked about this, Jeff Holiday came out and said, "Yeah, I meant to infer that I know who he was and he should be careful." Then, a week or so later, on November 18th, the information is posted on Kiwi Farms. So we see you have the information. Jeff is bragging about it the very next day. A week and a half later, that information is now publicly available. And then following that, Sargon puts out a video. And it follows in line with Operation Mincemeat of trying to use a bigger YouTuber, feeding them bullshit, getting them scared, making them think there's a war or some weird shit going on, and then having them out and go do a video against somebody you dislike or you have an issue with.
Coach Red Pill's information was never on that server. The thing you're referencing with Zeph is a private message that I sent to Zeph. Someone linked me a Coach Red Pill video. That was the first time I watched a Coach Red Pill video. It was something about Austrian economics, and it didn't make any sense. It was just pure gibberish. I Googled the company at the end of the video, because he ends all his videos with the copyright of a company. I got the billing for the company by the City of London, which showed that it was obviously a fake company, a shell company. It didn't really exist. It didn't make any business. I found his name there. I Googled his name, and the first thing I found was the fraud that he did with the economist Stephen Keen. And I got really excited when I read that. Wanted to make a video on it, wanted to expose it. And the first thing I did, which was retrospectively stupid, I ran around to almost every single big YouTuber I knew and showed them that.
Well,
I went to Zeph.
When we're talking about talking to people about this information, how did Holiday have it the very next day after you had excitedly...
Because I showed it to him. I showed it to him that day.
You told me that you guys weren't really working in concert at this point, that he was just kind of like an
I
ephemeral
told you right
figure.
now, I told you right now, I went to almost every YouTuber. I went to a shit ton of people and showed them this.
It just is a coincidence then
At least 12,
that both Zeph
12,
and
13,
Jeff are in that
14,
server
15
with you.
people.
But so it's just a
Yeah,
coincidence.
that's just a coincidence.
That they're
because
both in
it
the
could have
alt-right
just as well
server
been-
with you.
Yeah, it could have just as well been someone of the other 15 or so people who I showed this to who could have made this public.
Crowd, come on, man.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You don't see when people are looking at this situation, right?
I know it looks bad. But
It
just
looks
because
bad
it looks
because
bad,
it
doesn't mean
looks bad
that
because
it has to be
is
that
bad.
way.
It looks bad because it is bad. You
But
tried
does
to
that
get
mean that it have to be that way?
You tried to get
Does it
Rage.
mean that that sequence of events is like
Crowd,
that?
you tried to get Rage deplatformed. Jeff talked about how he bullied her. And once again, later on, here we are. This is after Coach Red Pill has made videos basically saying
So
that
we're going back to Rage now.
I'm establishing a common theme of actions. You've
Of
got
actions.
you two acting together, basically doing the same thing. You're on a stream together talking about how Rage is shit. You're trying to get her deplatformed. Jeff is talking about how he bullied her.
Well, I
then
didn't
off
say
the-
that Rage was shit on that stream. I mainly talked about the points that she made in the video. I was the calmest on that stream.
You weren't calm.
I
weren't calm. A few days later when you're trying
I wasn't
to get her
calm
thrown
a
off.
few days. Yeah, I spurged on Twitter.
Right.
I spurg. I have a tendency to spurg.
And then there's Jeff saying you bullied her off of the internet. And now here we have
That's
with the
what
CRP
he
thing.
said about
Here
himself.
we have with the CRP thing, where you're excitedly sharing the information, and it's just a coincidence that once again, here's Jeff Holiday, again, another person in your server. I mean, this is all coming from people in your server. Sandre, Holiday, yourself. Like all these people are involved in this, and that's just a wild coincidence. It just looks bad, but isn't bad.
Well, the reason it got out in the end was because I showed it to The Guardian, 001. Don't know if you know him. And, you know the Gerbil Twitter account?
Yeah, I know who the Guardian is. He ran away. He was the one that him and Edgy Sphinx were the ones that basically put the majority of this shit out on Twitter.
And he told me that he would get you to make a video on this if I gave it to him. And he took it and he
How'd
sent
that
me a
work out?
screen cap.
How'd that work
That
out?
didn't work out too well.
Yeah.
That didn't work out too well. He posted it in a DM group with you and King of Paul, and what happened is that King of Paul took it and posted it on KiwiFound. I guess that's at least how I see the lines of events.
Mm-hmm. Now, I'd like to ask you too, and this is again relating to the gay ops, because you're saying it looks bad, but it isn't bad. We've got audio of you having a conversation with David Charat, and you're talking about information regarding Ryan Falk, alt-hype. And you...
Yes, the masturbating video.
Yep. But what you said is, I want to hand this information off to your SJW friends to use, to which David responded, no, they aren't in favor of doxing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think I phrased it like that. I said, if you are going to...
No,
I will not.
You said,
Something like that.
I want you to hand this, I want to give you this information.
Did I
want
say
you
it
to-
exactly like that?
I mean, we can.
Yeah.
I can pull up the audio, I guess, if you'd like. Hold on.
No, I believe you. If you say that it's that, then that's what it is, yeah.
Yeah, I want to get it into the hands of your SJW friends, and Shitrad said no, they aren't in favor of doxing.
Yeah.
Again, is this just
And that was
something that looks bad, that you want to take information and hand it off to a group
That
you
was
think
us.
is going to exploit it
That was
and
us.
go after him?
That was a conversation that was us sitting together after we found the video,
Well,
talking about
it was more than you two. Zeph was there. He wouldn't have been able to
Liz
record
was there.
it. So
a couple of other people were
where
also
did this
there.
conversation take place?
That conversation, I don't know. It could have taken place in my server.
Oh, okay. So these gay ops were running in your server.
And I posted the video in my server. I remember posting the video in my server, which, yeah, was stupid.
But I guess I'm confused because you told me the entire point of your server was just to catalog their tweets. So why are you posting videos of Ryan Falk?
That was not the entire point of the server.
So there was more information.
The point of the server was for people to communicate with each other, to make videos, to research, to share their videos, and to have conversations. And as it so happened, some of the conversations veered into stupid directions. Like me posting that video. That is a good example of it.
Okay. So when you said earlier that this was just about cataloging tweets to try to come up with a network of how they propagate their information or how they spread their message, that's not entirely true, and you're admitting that now.
Yeah, we also gathered their videos. At least I encouraged people to post the videos that they wanted to respond to, but that's something that only few did. But I wasn't really seeking out personal information. Like the way I found the Ryan Falk masturbation video was I went through his entire catalog of 10 years of videos. I must have watched hours of his videos going back 10 years. And I was working on a video basically trying to showcase to people how his message hasn't changed over the last 10 years. And as I was doing that, I found out that he was driven off the internet once 8 years ago. And when I asked how that happened, I found out that it was because of a video of him masturbating that somehow became public. And I found it fucking hilarious. I will say that. I found it funny in a mischievous way. I downloaded it, I took it, I showed it to a couple of people, I laughed at it.
Now, one thing I find funny in regards to mischievousness in your server is Ryan Falk later went on to have a live stream where Dralasta and David Charat were on there, again, both members of your server. He accused him of pedophilia and then said they would be posting evidence of this pedophilia and then never posted any evidence of it.
Yes, and?
Well, I guess what I'm saying, Trout, is it sure seems like all the people involved in this server have tried to attack people on the alt-right in as many underhanded ways as possible.
That was a really stupid thing to attack him on. If there's no evidence of that, it's a serious accusation to make.
Oh yeah, it's very interesting. Yeah, to accuse him of pedophilia and then not really follow up on it. And then you've got CRP having his information posted and it's put into a video. You've got all these different, just weird things going. I also noticed too in your server, kind of thinking on what's been going on with Andy Worski, and I didn't really notice this at the time, but Hi, I Think I'm Real was in there. And I know he's repeatedly gone after Ethan Ralph and Andy Worski time after time after time. It just seems like this is a group of people that got together, have a fucking grudge, want to have a war, a crusade, or jihad, and are really willing to do essentially whatever they want. I mean, even as Sargon put it when he talked to you in that Skype conversation, you're using culture war tactics the SJWs use against the alt-right, digging up people's past and trying to smear them is a bad look.
So there's absolutely no reason whatsoever for anyone to go after Ethan Ralph. So, Hey, I Think I'm Real, he couldn't possibly have any other motivations. He couldn't possibly...
Well, I think we know what his motivations are. I mean, even Kilroy, the event that basically suckered alt-righters into paying to go to an event to hear alt-right speakers and then canceled those alt-right speakers after collecting the money, the person that organized that, Base Mama, was again another person that was in your server.
Yeah, I'm barely active at all.
I know, but even these barely active people in your server seem to have a hand in a lot of really underhanded shit that seems to target anybody that they identify as alt-right.
I don't know how underhanded Kilroy was. To be honest, I didn't finish your video on it because it didn't make any sense. I don't know how it ties into me.
Let me say this, Trout. If I were to hold an event and say, Trout and T is coming to speak, and people said, oh, I like Trout and T, here's $100, let me get a ticket, and then I said, nope, Trout and T is not coming, but thank you for the money, I don't associate with people like Trout and T. Would you call that underhanded?
Yeah, I would call that underhanded.
Because that's what Based Mama did when it came to Baked Alaska and James Alsop and a number of other alt-right speakers.
I don't know if she did that. If you say so, I still have to look into that because I haven't looked into that.
You don't vet the people that are in your server.
Well, no, that was actually one of the big problems, I guess, with it, that I didn't vet people. But when it comes to the Kilroy thing, my only connection with it was she sent me a document, I signed it, I sent it back to her. That was it. I had no connection to Kilroy.
Well, I mean, you had to be fair, you do. Here we have
Yeah,
a group
I signed
of people.
up, but what?
Yeah, you signed
Yeah,
up.
you have
The person that's running it's in your server.
Yeah.
We're in a server that's basically coming out with gay ops, Operation Mackerel, Operation
Two gay
Tilly Law,
ops,
all,
and the
all
one
of this
gay
shit.
op.
And it's
well, the
all
one
targeting
gay op,
alt-righters.
Mincemeat was Tilly Law. That was the idea of making a fake account, a sock account, impersonating a scientist who is secretly alt-right, and feeding bullshit information to JF or Ryan Falk about white matter in brain cells more common in white people. Some obvious bullshit, hoping that they would jump onto it, and if they make a video about it, we would laugh at them. And that was shut down, by the way, because one of the biologists in the server told us that that was stupid. He didn't want us to do that. He threatened to leave the server if we did that.
Oh, that was his line in the sand. That's what he said was too far. With all this other shit that's going on, that's what he did. That's the bridge too far for him.
What other shit was going on?
Again, Based Mama running an event to scam alt-righters.
What
Coach
does
Red
that
Pill
have to do
stocks
with
getting
my
put
server?
That's your server, Kraut.
That was
These are
something
people
that I
you
did.
brought in. These are people you
The
brought
Coach
in
Red Pill
to
thing is
target
something
the
that I
alt-right.
did myself. The Coach Red Pill thing is something I did myself.
So it's all on you then, is what you're saying with Coach Red Pill.
The Coach Red Pill thing is completely on me, yes.
100%.
And I don't regret it. I don't regret it. The only thing I regret is not making a video on it.
So you
thinking that you would make
You gave the information to King of Pool to put up on Kiwi.
No, I gave it to the Guardian, and the Guardian gave it to King of Pool.
Okay. And it's just
He would be able to confirm
it's just a coincidence then that you shared the information immediately with Zeph and immediately with Jeff Holiday people in your server.
Yes. No, it's not a coincidence. To me, that is just how I am. I found something that I felt was exciting, and I immediately shared it with a shit ton of people.
Right. And now these are still people you talk to. I mean, you're still in contact with people like David Sharat. You're still in contact with the Liberal Sanity Project. These sorts of people.
Liberal Sanity Project wasn't in the server.
Oh no, I'm talking about more recent events like Patebin.
Patebin.
Yeah.
Oh yes, that yeah.
So what's your take on that with that event?
My take on that is that a friend of mine was in Ralph's server, and he was screen capping the going-ons in Ralph's server. He was basically, he was taking screen caps on whenever people's stocks were dropped, etc., etc. And he noticed that people were talking about flagging Sargon's patron. So he took screen caps of that, he showed them to me and to others, and asked us what to do. And my decision was that this should only go to one place, and that is to Sargon. And that's what we did. We sent it to Sargon because it was, after all, his patron. And that's what we did. And that's what I did. And then a week goes by, and what happens is Sharat got frustrated that Sargon didn't call out Ralph. So Sharat made a video with screen caps, and he took some of the screen caps from a board.
Now, why would Sharat be taking screen caps from a board if he had the primary source?
I don't know why he did that.
Right, that makes no sense, does it? It seems bizarre if you had a primary source.
I think
with
what
the
ended
inside
up happening
information to
is
use
because
secondary information would be bizarre.
I think what ended up happening was we posted the screen caps of that in a DM group, all of them. My friend and a couple of others, the screen caps we found, and he probably also posted the screen cap from the board. And Sharat probably saw that screen cap and thought it was the juiciest and put it into his video. And when I saw that screen cap, I thought it was the juiciest too. That's probably it.
Okay.
My involvement ended when the stuff was sent to Sargon, because I believe it only concerns him, or it concerns him the most.
So I just want to understand this. Your friend is in Ralph's server documenting things he says Ralph and his users are doing. He hands this information to you. You hand this information to Sargon. Sargon doesn't do anything and Sharat gets frustrated, so he makes a video. But rather than using the primary source that you have provided to everybody, he decides to use screen caps that are on an image board.
I didn't provide them.
So Sharat Sharat was using, okay, so he got all his information from an image board.
How do you mean he got all his information from?
Well,
a
David
board?
Schrett made a video. So where did the information in David Schratt's video come from?
I would guess it came from the group DM where my friend posted the screen caps.
Okay, so he had the primary source, but he instead decides to add into that secondary information not from the primary person.
I believe my friend posted the screen caps from the board in there.
Why would your friend do that?
Because he found them interesting.
How would he
because
find
he saw
them,
them on the boards?
How would he find them interesting if he's the primary source?
Because they're relevant to the conversation. I could go and try to find the thread itself or the group DM itself, but yeah, that's where I would guess that screen cap came from, and made it into David's video.
Because David's video had multiple. It was the same conversation with misspellings, and I mean, you are known to misspell quite a few things. That is kind of a common trait.
I'm definitely the only person on the internet to ever misspell something.
Consistently, you do it quite a bit.
And I'm the only person who consistently misspells.
Yes, but yet this is information passed
That's
through...
That's a bit of a stretch.
This is information passed directly through your hands. We're not dealing with 7 billion human beings on the planet Earth. We're dealing with Trout's Discord server, which has a limited amount of people.
I didn't pass it through to Sherat. I passed it through to Sargon.
You said group DMs, so, I mean, do you have the group DMs? Can you post them so we can look?
I'm looking for them right now, but it could take a while for me to find them. If I had known that this could come up, I would have probably had them. If you want, I can send them to you retroactively if I don't find them in the right time.
Okay. Are you noticing a pattern of behavior here?
No.
Okay, well, I'll step it back a little bit then. And we'll back up just a little bit to CRP. And what I at least call Operation Mackerel, or whatever the fuck it was, getting an e-celeb to basically do your bidding and go after somebody. Which, in my opinion, and I think the opinions of a lot of people that are watching this, happened to Sargon. He used the information published on Kiwi to make a video on CRP, somebody you and people in your server had an issue with. And now here we are months and months and months, a year later, and it almost seems like the exact same thing is happening. Information is passed on to Sargon to get him to do a video on somebody, except this time, instead of CRP, it's Ethan Ralph.
That was not the intention of what I was sending Sargon. I was not sending this to Sargon for him to make a video on Ralph. I was sending it to Sargon to make him aware of it, because Ralph was claiming that I had flagged his patron.
Right, and it just so happens this information that gets passed along that, you know, Shitrat is basically highlighting in his video happens to be, you know, have misspellings, and say Patebin rather than Pastebin, and Shitrat's I mean, as you put it, he was upset Sargon didn't do anything with it. That the Operation Mackerel was a failure.
He was upset that Sargon kept insisting that him getting flagged of patron was... That's from Sherat's perspective. From his perspective, he was annoyed that Sargon kept blaming the left or social justice or whatever you want to call it, when he felt that it was Ralph's fault. That's how he felt about it. I felt so too, by the way, but I didn't make a video on it.
Okay, but can you see the parallels between what happened with CRP and what almost happened, I guess, with Ethan and Ralph? You don't see that your group is handing off information essentially to get an e-celeb to make a video on somebody you dislike?
No. Well,
you like
when the Guardian told me you would make a video on CRP, maybe that is a case to be made for that there. But if he hadn't promised me that, or if he hadn't told me that that was going to happen, I would have made the video on Coach Red Pill. Because I thought of it as relevant information.
And yet,
it's not really as much of a dox.
And yet, you didn't make a video on Ethan Ralph. And your operation, your Operation Image Cap that was put out there basically said we need to get a big YouTuber, and the two examples were Sargon and Thunderfoot, to basically make a video to go after these people. Sargon looks like he fell for it once, but didn't fall for it a second time.
That was the goals for the server in terms of, okay, we are making videos here on the alt-right. What measurements do we have on if we have succeeded or not, and if we are doing well or not, and how can we get this to become more popular as a genre? How can we develop this as a genre? And we put up as a goal, yeah, maybe if we can get a bigger YouTuber to make a video against the alt-right, that is a good measure of success or not.
Now, I guess I'd like to ask you, as a follow-up to what we've discussed so far, why are you continuing with this? Because it seems to me...
Continuing with what?
Well, let me put it this way. I mean, there are two ways to look at it. One, you're malicious and you're doing underhanded shit. Or two, this is all just horrible misunderstandings and
Jim.
weird... Wait, let me finish. And weird coincidences. Either way, you look like shit at the end of the day. So, why are you continuing with this?
Jim, I literally left the internet for 6 months.
And then you came back and went after Black Pigeon Speaks.
What do you mean went after him?
Well, you and your associates seem to have an issue with him and how he fucking...
I made a video on him. I made a video on him and his videos. And why I dislike his channel. Why I dislike the videos.
You left for 6 months to get away from your war against the alt-right and came back to
And that
do
wasn't
a
exactly
war on
the
the
first...
alt-right.
Yes. And why do you call it a war on the alt-right?
I'm using Wizard of Cause's terminology. I'm using Sandre's terminology, people that were in your
Okay.
server. A war on the alt-right. So you leave for 6 months and you come back and continue doing the same thing. So why continue with
Yes,
it?
I kept making videos on that. Well, why not?
Because you're so fucking bad at it, man. It's disastrous. This is what I don't get. I feel like the people around... I'm going to be really honest with you. I feel like the people around you think you're a fucking idiot. And I think they are using you. And I think there's a motivation behind what you're doing. I mean, I legitimately think you dislike the alt-right and people in it. That's fine, whatever. But it seems like they're using you as like their court gesture. You know, like they're using you to go out and do shit and take the heat when things go bad. And you keep fucking letting it happen. Why do you keep letting it happen? Why do you let people like Shitrat and Liberal Sanity Project and Sandre and all these other fucking people who'd call you an idiot in public and talk about how fucking stupid you are? Why do you let them use you like this and continue on with this same fucking group?
I don't feel used by these people in any capacity or way, to be honest. Like, the thing with Nick is purely, yeah, he got fucked over for something he had no involvement in whatsoever. Liberal Sanity Project and I just happened to agree on a couple of points, but disagree on a few others, and he worked with me on the Black Pigeon Speaks video. Sandra is Sandra. He's just, yeah, severely autistic, but a really nice guy. I don't see there anything of me being used by these people, to be honest.
Okay. How is your YouTube channel doing?
Not too good.
Right. How is your Patreon doing?
Not that good either.
Okay. So you've suffered for this entire debacle.
Yes.
Right. And yet you persist at it. And you persist at it
Yes.
with people that make public statements about what a fucking idiot you are.
Yes.
Do you have any
Yes.
self-respect? Why would you put up with that? Why would you tolerate people acting like that and talking about you like that?
Oh, that's just part of what we do.
You part of what you do is treat each other like faggots?
No. Suffering is just part of life. It's how we learn. It's how we give life meaning. If you're going by that, no, I don't feel deterred by that.
This
It
isn't.
can be
This
depressing
isn't.
on occasion.
This is like some philosophical construct of what suffering
No,
is.
it is. It
These
is. It has to
these
do with
are
that. It
specific
has to do with that in a
individuals.
certain-
These are specific individuals that seemingly aren't getting as scathed as you are walking away from it much more easily than you are, while you're left
Yes.
there with a giant fucking bullseye on your back and
Yes,
eating shit.
yes. Yes.
You want to be the fall guy.
Well, I am the bigger target of all of them. It's, of course, to be expected that that would happen. I also have an audience of people who would... I probably gathered a large audience of people who would naturally disagree with the kind of content that I'm doing now if you compare it to the content I did before. So it is to be expected. I can complain about it, but that won't change it.
Okay, let me try a different approach then. It would seem that this group and their attempts to go after the alt-right have not really succeeded in doing so. In fact, I'd almost say that they've done more damage to themselves, and you in particular, than they have to the people that they've targeted. So even if you put aside the suffering argument, if you really wanted a gay op crowd, like if you wanted to go out there and really fuck with people, this is clearly not the group of people that are going to be successful at doing that. So why would you hang around with people that can't get fucking results?
What do you mean, do you really think that I just hang around with them to get results?
I would fucking hope so, unless you're a cuck and like getting beaten up by assholes that treat you like shit. I hope you're getting something out of it. I hope there's something
in most
return.
conversations with David, we talk about Fallout New Vegas and stuff like that. It's not just, a YouTube-based thing. We just genuinely have general conversations about whatever. And I don't remember exactly making any kind of collaborative video effort with David. David, for most of the time, works on his own. He is his own type of person. His kind of content doesn't even go along well with mine. I work with Liberal Sanity Project on occasion. I think he's a very talented guy.
Oh, yeah, Mr. Upsetty Spaghetti. Yeah, that whole Black Pigeon Speaks thing, really, that was a gangbuster success. I mean, you guys criticized him for not using citations on YouTube. I mean, even first off, the whole idea of not having citations on YouTube videos is fucking dumb to begin with. Secondly, you're arguing with a guy that's almost autistic about putting citations on his fucking videos. Like, if you click on that guy's descriptions of shit, the majority of the time you're going to find links or just outright multiple links to the shit he's talking about. So I mean,
yes, he links to the article. He links to the articles he verbatim reads. He links to the article he verbatim reads. Yes.
Yeah, well, you're in the.
It's lazy.
Yeah, well, that's half of YouTube. Trout. Why not
really?
make a?
Well, that speaks very negatively of YouTube. Then, if they can't even phrase what they say in their own words, if they just verbatim read articles.
And so this is what I don't understand. You go away for 6 months after this shit blows up in your face. You come back to the same group of idiots that can't get results and fuck you over. You go after Black Pigeon Speaks for a dumb reason that looks stupid. And meanwhile, all this is going on. The whole Pate Bin thing's fucking blowing up. Like there has to be a point where you reach a threshold of punishment, where you reach a threshold of anger, and you realize that the people you've surrounded yourself with don't have your best interest in mind.
What makes you think that this is solely the product of the people I surround myself with? Like, the Black Pigeon Speaks video was partially worked out with other people, but
I would
for
use
the most
your own admissions especially when it came to the initial videos that you put out about the alt-right is too stupid for. You know, the 3 or 4 videos that you pumped out. What did you say?
Yeah.
This isn't just my work. These are what they're telling me, and then I'm putting it in my words to put it into a video. Every attack that you've gone on against the alt-right has been influenced by these people. I have yet to see you put an original project out.
But who did I work with? Who did I work with?
Was Sandre one of them? Because he was shit talking.
Sandre, Joan, the doctorand.
So Sandre was one of them, and he was calling you a fucking imbecile and laughing basically with Wizard of Oz.
That's what he does. That's what he does. He's an autist. He likes to laugh about people. He talks like this about people. That's how he is.
I just feel like you've dug yourself into such a deep hole, man. I just don't get it. I really don't. And it's not even that I'm telling you can't go fuck with people on the alt-right if you really are that dedicated to it. But you need to fucking change tactics or get a better crew of people to do it with, because they treat you like shit and they don't ever get anything done.
I'm perfectly fine with just making videos, to be honest. I don't see what other tactics should apply there. I'd rather continue just making my videos.
It just seems like you're a glutton for punishment. And I think that leads me into one thing I'm dying to ask you about. It's been brought up.
Yeah, sure.
And I need to get your take on this, because I've heard you answer this multiple times in different ways. You talk about, the whole split dick meme. Now, I've heard 3 fucking stories from you about how this happened. You posted about it on an image board saying you had a girl kick you in the balls so hard that it split your cock in half. You had another one where you were working at some wood shop place that ended up having a piece of the machinery fly off and hit you in the cock. And then there was another one, I think, involving an axe. So is this even a true story?
No.
Is this even a true story? And why are there multiple versions of it?
There's 2 true stories to that. That's why there's multiple versions.
You cut your dick in half twice?
No, you're mixing up 2. Like, the one is the injury at the workplace, the other one was at school, where, I was bullied as a kid and I got a kick between the legs, and it wasn't my dick that was hurt. I got the, I don't know what the English word is when the balls twist and swell up to 2 times their size and you have to go to hospital and get it fixed. The other one was a workplace accident, yeah.
You were so unlucky. Come on, man.
Don't tell me you never had an injury in your life.
I've never had a piece of machinery cut my cock in half and then have a girl stomp on it till it reopens. No.
It wasn't a piece of machinery. It was, I worked at a lumber mill. They had the machine there which scrapes the bark of the logs. And my job was with a scraping knife or with an axe, depending on what I used, to climb on the logs and chip off any remaining bits of bark. And I was climbing on a log, I was chipping off bark, and I slipped, I fell off, and I yanked the axe into my crotch. That's what happened.
Okay.
All right.
And
well,
I cut. Yeah. You didn't even. You left out the funniest part, which is the next day I woke up in a puddle of blood because I had a morning boner that ripped the stitches open. So it's a funny story. I see how it's funny. I'm amused by it. I tell it to people all the time.
I think you're fucking masochist. I mean, that's the only explanation I can come up with. I think that's the only explanation as to why you tolerate the people that around you doing the shit they're doing. Crowd.
I don't see the people around me doing anything that would validate that kind of claim.
I do, and I think a majority of people do. And I know you hate the alt-right, and you think that there's some political divide that makes all opinions fall into a left or right spectrum. Fine. But I think there are enough impartial observers out there that would look at this situation and say, boy, that Kraut guy is sure getting fucked over. Why does he keep going back to this group of retards?
I don't see the results of what is happening. Like, I don't see what is happening to me as the result of hanging around a certain group of people, to be honest. I really don't.
I don't
because
know.
Most of it is my work. Like, most of the videos I do are my work. I have no control over what Sherrod does.
All right. Well, like I said, you've said repeatedly you wanted a chance to clear the air about this. I feel like I've been fair. I've given you a chance to speak.
Yes.
And show the information. I'm going to be honest with you, after talking with you and going over this, I don't believe what you're saying. I do believe there were malicious intents. I do believe you and Holiday worked to do a lot of this shit. And I'm being really dead honest with you. Take it for what it's worth. You can cast it aside if you want to. The people around you right now, crowd, are fucking you over harder than you can imagine. And if you ever really want to get at the alt-right or even do anything that's going to have any impact on the internet, whether it's just stupid comedy videos or serious shit, you need to ditch them because they are going to drown you. They are dead weight that is going to drag you under and drown you.
Okay. That is any more advice.
No, that's that. I just wanted to say my piece. I'll give you the last word here since you came on. Whatever you want to say to close it out, and then that'll be it. Well, go ahead.
Oh, I'm fine. Perfectly fine. Thank you for the opportunity.
All right. Take it easy.
Bye.
Lord have mercy. That poor lost little lamb. Well, chat, I don't know what to tell you. I do not know what to tell you. I think I think Kraut's getting fucked and he just doesn't see it coming. I think that server was dirty as shit. The paste bin thing being a coincidence, that's a little bit too much of a coincidence. The passing it off to Sargon to get him to make another video falling in line with the op macro thing is just a little bit too much of a coincidence. The, finding it and bragging about finding the information and then it suddenly is on Kiwi and it's getting made into a video is just a bit too much of a coincidence. Holiday, who associates with him, bragging about trying to intimidate CRP by dropping information and saying, oh, I know who you are, it's just too much of a coincidence. Them, all going after Rage at the same time and Holiday admitting afterwards that we bullied her off the internet, just too much of a coincidence. Too many coincidences. Too many parentheses going on here for me to be comfortable with. But I was fair. I let the man speak his piece. Let him come on and say what he wanted to and bring up whatever evidence that he wanted to bring up. Sadly, that was a video of a server that's not related to the server we're talking about. But what are you going to do? Oh, you want a poll? What poll do you want, chat? I see people calling for a poll. Okay. I know what I'll ask. Let's do this. There you go, chat. Is Kraut innocent? Is he a good boy who's just in the middle of a giant misunderstanding? Or is he a dirty boy? Did he do naughty things? You're going to have to smash your pass. Too late for that. We went with yes or no. You should have told me earlier. I'd have fucking thrown it up. Kraut is a good boy. Well, hopefully Kraut can see the results. He wanted to see results. I'm going to say no, he is not innocent. But we'll see how it goes. I see 58 have put it. They do believe Kraut is innocent. I'm glad to see the entirety of his Discord is watching the stream. Hello to you all. I'm glad you could join us. I hope you enjoyed the show. Good God. Why even leave the internet for 6 months? What was the point of disappearing for 6 months to come back and then do the exact same thing? Literally the exact same thing. To go after the alt-right and, go after Black Pigeon Speaks and then go after Ethan Ralph, and you've got primary source information coming from a person on the inside, as you claim, and yet when you're making a video about it, you're not using that primary source, you're getting secondary information from an image board? That doesn't make any sense at all. If you're a fucking reporter and you've got the guy that's on the inside telling you all the details, why would you then, instead of using that information, just go out on the street corner and say, hey, assholes, somebody want to tell me what's going on in there? I'll throw it in the fucking article next to the guy who's actually on the inside. Because fuck it, I don't give a shit. It's not like I'm trying to do a sane job here. And I did adhere to my my agreement. Turned off super chats, turned off donations and stickers and all that shit. None of that was present on the stream. I kept my word that I would not make a nickel off of this and give Trout his opportunity to come on and speak his piece, even though I don't really believe what he said. It's just it's too coincidental. The timelines are a little too much. I mean, you go onto a stream with Holiday to talk about Rage. 4 days later, you're contacting the person that's employing her, essentially. I mean, whatever, letting her write or work for UKIP. A day after that, UKIP is talking about getting rid of her. A day after that, Soledad O'Brien's talking about it. Now, all these reporters that are always kind of sniffing around this group is very bizarre. Talking about the New York Times people in the Discord server, talking about Soledad O'Brien paying attention to fucking Kipper Central with 500 followers. That makes no sense. Jared Holt always seemingly around to write about the things that are going on. Ethan Ralph with his charity stream, shit like that going on. It's just too many coincidences going on. Oh, I should update the poll results. Let's see where we're sitting. 110 believe Trout is a good boy who did not do nothing. 1,948 though believe he is guilty of sin. So, I mean, that's, 5%. Well, it's not 5%. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it's 5%. Congratulations. 5% believe you, Trout. Though I suspect a good amount of them are sitting in your Discord. If I had to be honest with you. Well, how am I responsible for Jeff Holiday? Well, he was the one working on the fucking project with you, and he was in all those Discord calls with you, and all the leaked calls Zeph put out with you. I don't know. I don't know why you talk about him. And Jeff Holiday's the one running around with the CRP's information, bragging about it. I don't know. It makes you think. Makes you go, Holy shit. Well, there you go. Told Trout I'd give him a fair shake. I gave him a fair shake. Let him speak. Let him say what he wanted to say. Let him show what he wanted to show. And there you are. What a gay afternoon. I'm going to go play Resident Evil. And then, the next morning stream I do, we'll go look at more Sonic fans spurging out. Something far more interesting than whatever the fuck this was. I was really hoping he'd have some kind of evidence. He'd bring something to the table to exonerate himself. Some revelation. I don't even know if he's going to take my advice, but this is the most honest you'll ever hear me, Trout. Those people are going to drag you down. You really need to find more competent individuals, because they have failed repeatedly at what you're attempting to do. And there are always leaks. God, the amount of OPSEC this group has is fucking pitiful. Just fucking pitiful. Alright, chat. You enjoy your Sunday afternoon. Go to church. Go do whatever you're going to do. I know it's a little in the afternoon. Go watch football. I don't know what the fuck you're up to. I'm going to go play Resident Evil. I'm going to go have some fun. I will see you on the next morning stream. I'll let a song play us out. Let's see, what song can I let play us out? Oh,
Wait, hold on a second. I gotta check the list. Are you an intellectual?
Yes, I am a YouTube intellectual, and it's also apparently my birthday because I heard you're going in on Wizard of Oz.
Are your nuts out?
Yes, I keep nuts out for Wiz constantly.
Perpetual nuts out. Now, who would be the kind of person to perpetually keep their nuts out for fucking Wizard of Cause?
The type of person who gets daily calls from his ex-girlfriend to pull these nuts out. That's the type of dude to do it. That guy. So I was listening to the whole to-do on the YouTube Saints last night on replay, of course, because nobody watches that fucking shit live. So what I'm hearing here is the drunk guy at the bar who doesn't know he's wasted and screams at people about how fucking smart he is. Didn't quote Shakespeare for us last night is what I'm hearing.
Not quite. Not quite, AP.
Not quite Shakespeare. Yeah, I don't even know what to say. I'm not sure what this guy's fucking problem is, man. I just know it's got to be hard to pronounce.
No, his problem is that we're hacks, and we are responsible for the violence going on, and we are perpetuating the society of violence.
Put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. I tell jokes on the internet. Man, we got to get this guy to a doctor so the world can know what the fuck is wrong with him, man. In all seriousness, last time he went to a shrink, he said, "Doctor, I'm sad." The shrink looked at him and said, "Yeah, you're fucking ugly too. What do you want me to do about it?" So we really don't have a clinical diagnosis at this point for the guy, and we might be attacking a retard out here, man. I mean, just look at him. Tell me he wasn't damaged in the womb by something. Look at that fucking face. He's a fucking trifecta of genetic sins, Tonka. A fetal alcohol syndrome baby who was mistakenly thrown away when the doctors thought that he was the placenta, who's so ugly that his mom had to get drunk to fucking breastfeed him. What do we expect him to come out looking like? He's a drunken hack who looks like a sin against nature. Big surprise.
You know his name is a nickname, right? It's short for Nick and Poop.
It's short for Little Dick Nick. Little Dick Nick. So, I mean, how long is it going to be till his ex-bitch shows up here and starts working for the Kumites? Like, if anyone should take Failure's job, I think it should be Wizard's ex-girlfriend. She's like a Vietnam vet, dude. Nothing's going to shock her. She's seen him naked.
Oh. Hey. Whoa, nobody's taking my job.
I'm just saying, if it has to be done. If you want someone who can take some blows to the fucking face.
The last thing Failure needs is more fucking competition in this workplace, okay? He's considering getting a gun and just, blowing out everybody up in here.
Well, Failure, I don't want to be the one to drive you off the edge. I don't want to be the one that they blame when you snap.
I'm super gluing this fucking cactus and this little T-whack on the desk. Ain't nobody gonna fucking move them off the fucking desk. They're mine. No.
Does the T-Tac, does it work on a timer? Does it squirt every so often at you? Wake you up? Like, that's what you need, is for it to hit you in the face with some water and spritz you every once in a while to wake your ass up.
A little lotion dispenser.
No, man, fuck. I mean, you don't want to get lotion. You don't want to be asleep with lotion on your face, man. Fucking somebody like me comes to your house, takes pictures. I'll ruin your life.
What's the most intellectual thing you've done on YouTube?
I had Aiden on the show. Yeah. It took me asking somebody for a favor to come on and be an intellectual. I don't purport to be one. I'm a cartoon. I make fucking jokes, bad ones. Like, you want to hear a bad joke? What's the difference between Wizard of Cause and a walrus? One has a mustache and is fat and smells of fish, and the other is a walrus. Boom.
Okay. But that guy called you a hack. And that guy had your Twitter flag, or maybe he didn't. Who knows? Maybe it was just one of his fans, to be fair.
Okay. All right.
But it used to be all about intellectualism, AP. It used to be, back in Gamergate, it was about, let's talk about the issues. You look out for your friends. You don't shit on your friends. You don't go on your friend's channel, whip out your genitals, get the channel taken down, and then go to another channel, start a stream, and not even invite him. That would be shitty, wouldn't it?
That would be a shitty thing to do.
I wouldn't do that.
That's throwing people under the bus. That's not something you do to people that you purport to like, man. I have to agree with that. So yeah, he's out here pulling his nutsack out on streams, but dude, frankly, when people sent me that picture last night, when I was like, nah, man, I've never seen that shit. When I really thought people were sending me just another picture of his wrinkled fucking face to make fun of. At a glance, I didn't even know it was obscene. That's probably why that thing didn't get flagged. They assumed he was just leaning into the scene to say hi.
That was one.
I'm thinking so.
You think that's
Wizard of Cause shouldn't be using the word. No one. He shouldn't be claiming to be an intellectual. All right. He looks more like a Down syndrome child.
Oh.
That's right. And if I could give him one piece of advice, I'd say that maybe he wouldn't be so fucking retarded if his mother hadn't had, like we talked about, he's got all this fetal alcohol syndrome. Back when he was a kid and they played peekaboo, he peeked and she booed, man. That's an ugly fucking kid back then. They installed tinted glass at the hospital nursery just because he was born. Cause's parents are scientific proofs that two wrongs don't make a right. His family tree is a cactus, Tonka. You can tell because everyone on it's a prick. His birth certificate was a note from the nurses that said it's not too late, pinned to a small pillow. We can only guess that the actual birth took place on the highway somewhere because that's where most accidents happen. What I'm saying, Tonka, is this might not be his fault. We need the medical results from Wizard of Cause. His physical appearance is a clue. His brain's not right. It's been baked. You know what the difference between Wizard of Cause and the fucking pizza is, Tonka? Apparently, it's okay to bake Wizard of Cause. It's okay to burn him. The proof's in the pudding. We cannot expect very much out of this man. I don't know what makes him so stupid, man, but it's working. It's working. He'll never be as much of a man as his mother was, I'll tell you that.
Press 1 to burn a hack. Now, I'm gonna peep a few of these super chats. Read them from down to forward. AP came through, and now I'm diamond hard. Vegeta for 5. Respect for Wizard of Cause for being an acid attack victim before it was cool. Nicholas Donka, AP, A Savage, Mofo. Ben Cooper for 5. Hey Frog, are you going to put more people into the Clan of Destiny?
Into the Clan of Destiny? No,
Apparently.
it's the Clan of Dusty that I'm in charge of. The Clan of Destiny is actually, I hear it's a small island that's usually visited by chiefs of state like Bill Clinton and shit like that. Alex Jones talked about it.
God damn. That was well played. Jamobi for 2 says, Tonka, here's a shekel or 2. Keep the blood coming. Jamobi for 2. AP, I'm at half-mast waiting for you to immolate Wiz. Vegeta for 2. Remember to hit that like, follow the Kangs and Quains. Water Jabbers just tweeted Zeph to get his dog. Oh god. Just tweeted Zeph to tell him to get his dog before Metokur makes authentic Chinese food. Oh my god, we've got great fans. Nard Industries for 2. Send the dog to Jim. Alex the Southerner for 2 says truck nuts. Lone Loric Loric Project for 2 says never disrespect the Kumite. Pro White for 2 says Wizard has an acting reel on his channel. Winky face. Oh Jesus. Vam Candy for 5 says we need intellectual conversations. Watch my response video about this person I never intend to ever talk to. Gentleman Bystander for 5 says to be fair, you have to have a very high IQ to appreciate truck nuts.
What's the cause out there trying to take jobs from Robert England and shit, man? No. He's like, think about all the money you'll save on makeup. He almost got it. But instead they gave it to that new Freddy Krueger. It's hats off for the try, Wizard of Cause, or Wizard of Cause's nutsack. We can't tell the difference between your face and that fucking shriveled, lint-covered, hairless, fucking neutered sack you pulled out on stream. So we'll just... Whichever one was the actual one that did the spot. Congrats.
Vegeta for 5 says, once you guys finally sort out a soundboard, a fucking truck nuts drop is mandatory.
I'm actually going to work on that.
All right, Sherman for 5 says, what's the matter with you your boy's face? I've seen less holes in a crocheted blanket. Fuck. Charlie Bruder for 5, just had to slam that mute button when you said what the girl did with 5 guys. Not safe for work warning.
he's not wrong about the holes on Wizard of Coz's face, man. I hear Bob Barker keeps harassing him about coming down and being the spare Plinko board out on Price is Right. You know, the kids that are off school, you know, they get sick. They need to watch people play Plinko. Wizard of Coz, give of yourself. Quit being so selfish.
Vagetter for two says, it's real to me, damn it. And Zemeckis Lebowski says, Gamergate was shit-flinging, fun shit-flinging. And Alex the Southerner for 5, fetish for violence.
I do have a fetish for violence, but I find the show therapeutic. Nothing calms me down after a hard night's work, but then coming on the Kumite and shitting all over Wizard of Coz. It's like my birthday every time I do this, man. So thank you, Wizard. I do have a fetish for violence, and your statements last night are helping me to quell that fetish. I'd hate to come after fucking like just slap the fucking ugly off you in real life. So, and I would never be the type of man to do that. Don't take that the wrong way. I'm just saying I have the ability to, so it's better that we just do it like this. That way we can both live peaceful lives, right? Right, guys? Right? Yeah. Is my fetish for violence? Oh my God, this isn't my fault. I can't help myself. This is wrong. Shut up, Tonk. I got something to say.
Oh no.
I got something to say.
All right, man.
What's the difference between a joke and 3 dicks? Wizard of Coz can't take a joke. I'm not about to be criticized by a guy who's got
now you're the homophobe in corner 1.
That's fine. No, I'm not a homophobe. I'm a heterophiliac.
Wasn't that like the most fucking just triggered fucking promo you've ever heard? Talking about homophobes and
that tells you something though, man. Like he considers homophobes a personal threat. This motherfucker's out here trying to fucking play leapfrog with unicorns and shit, if you know what I mean, man.
Thank you for coming. I'll see you in hell.